thought leader and our chief guest, Ms. Purnima Devi Barman, celebrated biologist and conservationist. Our male panel discussion will be moderated by Mr. Arun Krishnamurthy, founder of EFI and a prominent environmental activist, and he will be joined by an eminent panel comprising ecologist Mr. Kartik Shankar, Mr. Meet Sejaria, Vice Chair of Partnerships and Stakeholders, Commonwealth Youth Climate Change Network, Dr. Debabrata Swai, former PCCF and member Lok Yukt Odisha, and Madam Adyasha Satpathy, CEO of Dharitri. Together, they will explore vital ideas, solutions, and pathways for a sustainable and youth-powered future. We also have 9 students from eminent educational institutions who will share their thoughts on youth and the environment. And later in the program, the Climate Grant Awards will be presented to promising young change makers. The Dharitri Youth Conclave, ladies and gentlemen, has always been more than an event. It's a movement that inspires young people to think loudly, to think boldly, act responsibly, and shape meaningful change. As we begin this year's celebration, let us open our minds, engage deeply, and carry forward the energy and optimism that defines today's youth. Once again, let's have a round of applause and begin the 5th edition of Dharitri Youth Conclave 2025. Thank you very much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, at the onset, I'm now going to invite the extremely powerful force behind this initiative that has turned into a very huge movement, our honorable esteemed CEO of Dharitri and Odisha Post. Ladies and gentlemen, since the early 2000s, she has infused the organization with a modern, corporate and HR-driven approach, drawing young journalists and professionals into the newsroom. She is the brain behind Odisha Post, the state's only homegrown English daily, created to fill the long-felt need for credible English news from Odisha. Under her leadership, both Dharitri and Odisha Post has expanded rapidly, embracing digital transformation and establishing a strong social media and web presence that now leads digital reporting in the state. A committed advocate for climate action, she continues to champion environmental awareness among the youth of Odisha. Recognizing her contributions to fair journalism and climate initiatives, Outlook magazine named her among the top 30 women in India in its Women Architects of New India 2024 list, and also a Femina honoree celebrating her contributions to fair journalism. Please put your hands together as I invite on stage our Honorable CEO of Odisha Post and Dharitri, Madam Adyasha Satpathy, for the welcome address. Madam, please.
Thank you, Mansi. A very good morning to everyone. Namaskar, Jai Jagannath. I am absolutely delighted to be here today at the 5th edition of Dharitri Youth Conclave 2025. It is also the birthday of Dharitri, the 52nd birthday of Dharitri that we are celebrating. And I would like to congratulate all members of the Dharitri family, of the Odisha Post family. And it is also the birthday of our chief guest, Srimati Purnima Devi Barman. So a very happy birthday to her as well. And I'm honored, I'm delighted and humbled that all our beautiful guests, including Purnima ji, has accepted and honored us with her presence. Srimati Sunita Narayan ji, I'm so happy that you're here today. Dr. Andrew Fleming, honored absolutely. Kartik Shankar ji, Madam Mayor, Arun Babu, Srimati Chami Murmu ji. Of course, a little later we will have post-lunch the beautiful performance from Rahagir. We are honored to have him. and I'm delighted to be here with very powerful voices from across Odisha. Of course, Meet Babu, who would be joining us in the panel, Dr. Debabrata Babu, who would again be joining us in the panel discussion. Delighted that you honored us by accepting our invitation. And I would like to welcome a very, very grateful thank you to all the environmentalists who are here today from across Odisha. We had a beautiful session yesterday with exchange of ideas from young environmentalists from various parts of Odisha, from western Odisha to south, from central to coastal, and trying to find solutions, trying to debate, trying to talk, and of course, the most important thing that came about from yesterday's Green Heroes Summit was their networking and becoming friends and trying to find solutions and also trying to think of ways how to take this forward and collaborate. That I would think is the greatest mission of Dharitri Youth Conclave. We have been at it for many years now, and I'm glad that we have been able to join environmentalists, find a platform where they can stay connected, where they can get to know each other and exchange knowledge, exchange ideas, to probably also give each other resources, if not financial, but physical resources. And that is the biggest thing that is happening in Odisha right now, the collaboration instead of competition. Now, we came up with the Dharitri Climate Grant a few years ago to, of course, put the spotlight on grassroots environmentalists who sometimes are working extremely hard in their own areas, some of them without too many resources, without finance, but they're at it. And Dharitri Climate Grant, apart from giving them 1 lakh, a very small money, sum of money, I'm sure, but putting the spotlight, their story, out in the public, getting them connected to other climate grant environmentalists, getting them connected to each other. I have seen stories where it has helped them back in their village get recognition that, okay, you're not doing something that is supposed to be pointless, saving the environment. Sometimes to a lot of other people who are not in the room here today, we are all environmentalists here and young students, but for others it might seem like something that you're doing which is pointless. So when we put the spotlight on some of these hard-working grassroots environmentalists, I'm sure it helps them back in their own villages, back in their own communities to get more resources and support. So that is the whole aim of the Dharitri Climate Grant. Yesterday we also started off with the Dharitri Climate Film Fest, which is the first of its kind, I believe, in Odisha, which gets film festivals, very short films actually, which students have sent us, which young filmmakers have sent us with a lot of spirit, with a lot of hope, to send a message in whatever capacity they can, to send a message for the environment. And we saw some beautiful movies, some were selected as the top 3, but all the messages that we found, we received from young filmmakers, we saw there is hope. And in this room, I see that hope. We have been watching a movement forming from the time Dharitri Youth Conclave came up, before that with Dharitri pioneering in environmental reporting, in reporting where we are very conscious for several years, decades I would say, we are very conscious of how we report. Our reporters, our journalists are trained, we talk to them very regularly in how we can be more sensitive when we talk about man-animal interface and not conflict. Meena ma'am told me that let's not use the word conflict, let's use the word interface. So now I would be doing that. So we have been conscious of how we report on environmental issues, and that itself, and young students of journalism They are also taught to be conscious of environmental reporting and put the spotlight again on people who are also doing positive work, and not just in points of conflict or disaster is when environmental reporting or disaster reporting comes about. So we have a mandate. Shri Tathagat Satpathy, the editor of Dharitri, has been setting the tone for how we do reporting in Dharitri and in Odisha Post. He distanced himself from politics at a time when he didn't need to, a very popular leader, but he decided to distance himself because he wanted to focus on Dharitri, he wanted to focus on journalism, and that is a message he keeps giving, is that we also focus on the positives, on the positive stories, instead of reporting only coming about when there is a cyclone. Unfortunately, in Odisha, we get a lot of cyclones, and those points of news where there is a disaster coming or a disaster which has already happened should not be the only times when there is reporting on climate, on environment. So we try and also take up stories that end on a positive note, and individual stories of hope, of resilience. We continue to do that, and Dharitri doesn't really end with this one conclave here. We're in touch with all grassroots environmentalists, a lot of them over the years, and we continue to stay in touch, stay connected, and do what we can to go beyond Dharitri Youth Conclave. The climate grant also continues to support them, not just financially, but in other ways. And of course, I'm super glad to say that I personally and our editor, Mr. Satpathy, and the whole Dharitri and Odisha Post team is glad that we have always seen that there is more networking and more collaboration amongst environmentalists in Odisha, which I would say we have tried to do that. We have tried for them to collaborate, not compete. So hope that trend continues. Hope the positive journalism continues, positive stories keep coming in. I am very, very grateful, thankful to everyone present here, especially our esteemed guests who have taken time from their busy schedule to be here, students who have come in to learn. I hope you go back with hope and also have fun, and environmentalists who are here from different parts of Odisha. Thank you so much for being here. I would like to acknowledge and thank our sponsors, our partners, for giving us the support to keep moving forward. Thank you so very much, and have a very great day. Namaskar. Jai Jagannath.
Thank you very much, madam. Well, ladies and gentlemen, just to bring your attention towards the complete 360-degree approach that Dharitri is having towards the issue, from sensitizing the grassroots environmentologists, bringing them together, bringing experts of the sector together, finding solutions, using the youth power and energy to channelize the cause, and also using the power of media to bring in awareness amongst the common public. It's truly amazing that they are definitely trying to touch base on every aspect to bring a complete overall change in our environment. Thank you very much, madam, for that address. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to humbly welcome and invite our editor, Sir Shri Tathagat Satpathy, to please come on stage. Along with, I would now welcome our guest of honor, special guest of honor, Dr. Andrew Fleming, British Deputy High Commissioner, to please join us on stage. Our chief speaker, Srimati Sunita Narayan, editor Down to Earth, and also our esteemed chief guest, Madam Purnima Devi Barman, biologist and conservationist. I would invite them to please come on stage, and I would request our honorable editor, sir, that शब्दों से हम हमारे अतिथियों का स्वागत करें, ऐसा संभव नहीं है. So, on behalf of everybody present here, on behalf of Dharitri family, I would request our editor, sir, to present a flower bouquet and welcome our esteemed guests and dignitaries to the day, to the event. Welcoming Madam Sunita Narayan. Welcoming Madam Purnima Devi Barman. आप सबकी तालियों के साथ इसमें आप भी शामिल हो, ये स्वागत आप सभी की तरफ से है. Welcoming Mr. Dr. Andrew Fleming. I would now request our esteemed guests to kindly be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time now to hear from our esteemed guests of the 5th edition of Dharitri Youth Conclave. Today on the dais, as you can see, we have amongst us the presence of our special guest of honor, Dr. Andrew Fleming. We are truly privileged with us to have you with us, sir. A distinguished diplomat whose dedication to fostering ties between the UK and India is truly commendable. He is the British Deputy High Commissioner to Kolkata. Before taking up his current role, he served the people of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana for 5 years, tirelessly promoting business, trade and academic partnership between the UK and these regions. He's not just a high-ranking official, he is a man deeply committed to local issues and community engagement, having actively participated in Swachh Bharat initiatives and supported vital projects on community cohesion, countering violence against women and youth empowerment. With a rich career in the British civil service that spans decades and includes international policy work across 170 nations, he brings a wealth of global experience to his role. He's also a passionate advocate for Indian heritage, even leading heritage walks in Hyderabad, and shares his love for this country actively on social media. Please join us and put your hands together and let's give a warm Indian welcome to our special guest of honor, Dr. Andrew Fleming. So please.
Namaskar. That's a really good start, isn't it? Distinguished guests on and off the dais, partners from Dharitri, friends, and above all of you remarkable young people gathered here today. It's a real privilege to be on my 15th trip to Bhubaneswar, a city where heritage and innovation sit side by side, and a place that continues to show how the youth of Odisha can lead India and the world towards a more resilient future. When I was invited to speak about global cooperation, about youth leadership and climate action, I felt that these themes belong naturally together because the challenges we face, whether climate change, sustainable development, or the need for peaceful and prosperous societies, cannot be solved in isolation. They need collaboration across borders, across communities, and across generations. And crucially, they need you. Let me begin with a simple truth. And this is particularly addressing the youth in this room. Your generation is the largest, most connected, and potentially most influential cohort of young people in human history. You live at a time when information flows freely, when innovation moves rapidly, and when your voices can reach leaders instantly. But you also inherit enormous challenges: rising temperatures, unpredictable climate patterns, pressure on natural resources, and a world where inequalities remain stark. Yet, I stand here today full of optimism, because every time I meet young people in Odisha, in Assam, in Meghalaya, in West Bengal, or in Nagaland, where I shall be this time next week, I meet individuals with clarity of purpose and commitment to action, and that gives me hope. Climate change is not an abstract challenge. Odisha knows this better than most. Cyclones, floods, droughts, these are all lived realities. And yet, Odisha has become globally recognized for resilience. Resilience building, disaster preparedness, and community-led responses. The world has much to learn from you. But resilience cannot stop at adaptation. We also need mitigation, reducing emissions, and transforming energy systems. This is where global cooperation becomes essential. The United Kingdom and India have been working together as natural partners on green hydrogen research, offshore wind development, sustainable finance and green bonds, electrical mobility, and climate-resilient agriculture, particularly important for a state like Odisha, where farming supports millions of families. Our two countries together represent a powerful force for a greener future. But technology and policy alone are not enough. We need leadership. We need your leadership. What does youth leadership look like today? It looks like the young social entrepreneur in Cuttack turning waste plastic into affordable building material. It looks like students in Koraput using drones to map deforestation and support tribal communities. It looks like Odisha's young athletes advocating for clean and green sporting facilities. It looks like youth climate volunteers spreading awareness, planting mangroves, and working with panchayats to protect their coasts. And it's not just in Odisha, of course. The work of my good friend Purnima ma'am in Guwahati, saving the stork, and another good friend, Afroz Shah in Mumbai, cleaning up beaches that people said were uncleanable, all have youth empowerment and mobilization at their core, transforming the views and attitudes of these young people by action. But leadership also needs networks, it needs partnerships, and it needs the ability to bring people together behind a shared vision. That is where global cooperation meets youth ambition. And one thing that Adesha ma'am said in her opening remarks, which really touched me: collaborate, not compete. So important. One of the most exciting parts of my job is seeing how UK-India partnership creates opportunities for young people. Through the Chevening scholarships, Indian youth become global leaders in climate science, in governance, technology, and more. Through the Newton Baba program, researchers from the UK and India, many of them again young people, collaborate on climate modeling, sustainable cities, and environmental resilience. Through the Young Professionals Scheme, early career Indians gain experience in world-leading UK industries. And in the east and northeast of India, we work with state governments to strengthen skills, support entrepreneurship, empower girls, and improve access to education. These partnerships underline one reality. Where young people thrive, nations thrive. And where nations collaborate, the world becomes a safer, cleaner, and more prosperous place. Any discussion on climate must acknowledge inequality. The communities least responsible for emissions are often those hardest hit. The voices of indigenous groups, of women, of rural youth, and of marginalized communities must be central, not peripheral, to climate planning. Odisha's tribal communities, for instance, have deep traditional knowledge of forests, water, and biodiversity. Preserving and learning from this knowledge is not just as important as deploying satellites or AI systems. In my work, I have the privilege of seeing young women driving climate innovation, from leading local governance to building digital solutions for sustainable agriculture. Their leadership is not only inspiring, it is essential. You might ask, what can I do from here in Odisha to influence global affairs? The answer, a lot more than you imagine. Diplomacy today is not the exclusive realm of governments. It is shaped by cross-border scientific collaboration, by student networks, by teaching innovation ecosystems, by climate advocacy groups, cultural and artistic exchanges, and grassroots movements that go viral. When you join a hackathon with participants from 3 countries, that is global cooperation. When you start a climate club in your college and link it with a school in the UK, that is global cooperation. When you use social media to speak for the planet, you are influencing international conversations. Allow me to share 3 appeals as you prepare to shape the future. First, please stay curious. Your ability to learn, adapt, and explore is your greatest advantage in this fast-changing world. Second, stay compassionate. Progress means little unless it uplifts the vulnerable, protects dignity, and preserves our shared humanity. Third, stay courageous. Leadership is not the absence of fear. It is the refusal to be limited by it. The world needs your ideas, your energy, and your conviction. As the UK Deputy High Commissioner for East and North East India, I see immense promise in this region. Youthful populations, extraordinary cultural diversity, a growing innovation ecosystem, and a deep respect for nature. But promise only becomes progress when it is nurtured by education, by opportunity, and above all, by leadership from people like you. So let me end by saying this. Climate change is the defining challenge of our time, but youth leadership is the defining opportunity. And when nations like India and my country, the UK, work together with young people as our partners, not just as passengers, the future becomes not just resilient, but hopeful. Thank you for the honor of letting me address you today. I look forward to listening to all your ideas, learning from your experiences, and working with you to build a greener, fairer, and more peaceful world. Dhanyabad.
Thank you, Dr. Fleming. If I had known any better then you are actually embodying the Indian culture completely within you today, with the way he started his address and all throughout, and also highlighting such minute details, which if we personally embody in ourselves, and it's going to bring in a very significant change for sure. Thank you very much, sir, for your address. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to welcome for the address. I'm sure all of us have been waiting, our chief speaker for today's 5th edition of Dharitri Youth Conclave. It is indeed my distinct honor to, I won't say introduce, but definitely put forward in welcoming her for the address, our chief speaker, a globally recognized environmentalist, an astute political activist, and a leading proponent of sustainable development. She is the voice of reason and courage whose insights have shaped India's environmental narratives for decades. Since her early days at the University of Delhi, she has been a force at the Center for Science and Environment, one of India's premier environmental NGOs. Rising through the ranks, she became the Director General in 2000, steering the organization to incredible influence. She is also the editor of the influential magazine Down to Earth. Her work challenges the status quo, demanding environmental equity and holding powerful entities accountable. Under her leadership, the CSE exposed the high level of pesticides in major soft drink brands, sparking a nationwide debate. Her foundational paper from 1990 is considered a charter for the global climate justice movement. A true global leader, she was named one of Times Magazine's 100 most influential people in 2016 and appeared alongside Leonardo DiCaprio in the documentary Before the Flood. From writing seminal reports like Excreta Matters to advocating India's alternative path to economic growth, her perspective is definitely vital for our future. She's also the recipient of Padma Shri and the Stockholm Water Prize. Please put your hands together and join me in welcoming the incomparable Director General of Center for Science and Environment, Madam Sunita Narayan.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Team Dharitri, Team Odisha Post, for inviting me. I'm really happy to be with all of you and seeing all your faces and seeing the fact that we are definitely in a crisis, but it's a crisis of our making. And so for me, the answer also lies in all of us. Because at the end of the day, if climate change is real, and as Andrew said so clearly, it is the biggest challenge that we are facing in our world, it is also a challenge that demands all of us to come together to find solutions. And that's really, to me, gives me the sense of hope, the sense that we will have the courage, the imagination to be able to find new answers to what we know today is an existential threat. So with that, I am again very happy to be with all of you and to try and understand with you what then is the way ahead. We know today that climate change is real. We know that the threat is urgent. CSE and Down to Earth just last week released a report called Extreme Weather Events in India, where we put together the data of the Indian Meteorological Department, IMD. And it shows, and it's something that should worry us enormously, it shows that we've had one extreme weather event a day in some part of India or the other. One a day, one disaster a day. And as Andrew said very clearly, this impacts the poor, it impacts the most vulnerable in our world, and These are people who have not contributed to the stock of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. So what this also tells us is that if we want to find a way out of this, as we must, there are 3 lessons that we must learn. One, that the current way of doing development is only going to add to more crisis. It's going to add to a greater environmental challenge. The Western world has looked at environmental answers in a very small way. It has found answers, but has always stayed behind the problem. I'll give you a simple example. I come from Delhi. I've just come from Delhi last night, and I'm already choking, as you can see. The air pollution in Delhi is extremely bad. It is toxic air we are breathing. It is completely unacceptable, because the right to clean air has to be a fundamental right of everyone. But the answer to the air pollution challenge cannot be found in the answers that the rest of the world adopted. So what did the rest of the world do? They cleaned up the quality of fuel, they cleaned up the quality of emission standards of their vehicles, they have better fuel in their factories, but it's still fossil fuel. They have moved from coal to gas, but it's still fossil fuel. It's definitely better for local air pollution. So they breathe better. The air is cleaner in the rest of the world, in the modern world that we know today. If you go to New York, if you go to London, the air is cleaner. But the same transport-related emissions, the carbon dioxide that is emitted from vehicles, has added to the emissions in the atmosphere, continues to add emissions in the atmosphere, and as a result of it, today, the entire world is threatened. So the answer to air pollution control cannot be to clean each individual vehicle. There is an answer that has worked for some part of the world to clean up their air, but at tremendous cost to the rest of the world. In our case, we cannot even adopt that answer because most of our city still does not drive a car. Most of our cities still walk, still bicycle, and still take a bus. They do so because they are not rich enough to drive a car. Now, in this scenario, it is very much like the parallel of the rest of the world. The rest of the world has filled up the common atmospheric space with the emissions of a minuscule number of people. In my part of the world, in my city of Delhi, only 10% of people drive a car, only 10%. Yet they occupy 90% of the road space of the cities. And as we build more flyovers, cars fill them up. We have one airshed. The question for us today is, how will the remaining 90% of Delhi get onto a car? There is the same question for the rest of the world. How will the remaining 70% of the world population have the right to grow when the world has exhausted its carbon budget? By 2030, at current rates of growth, there will be no space, no carbon budget left for the remaining 70% to grow. The world will be on course to 1.5 degrees centigrade rise. The question, therefore, again, and I'm bringing you back to Delhi, I'm bringing you back to Bhubaneswar, is what do we do? Because if we take the same route of individual cars filling our roads, maybe cleaner cars, cleaner fuel, cleaning up our local air pollution, we will still contribute to global atmosphere carbon dioxide. More than that, we don't have the road space. We don't have the airshed to be able to occupy and to be able to provide space for the remaining 90%. So for us, the answer is not about cleaner vehicles. It is not even about electric vehicles. It is about mobility. It is about creating a system in which we can move people and not vehicles. It's a transformation of the idea of how you clean up the air, the global air, as well as your local air. And we do this because for us, we know that if growth is not inclusive, it can never be sustainable. Now, I am giving you this example because you, the youth of India, the youth of Odisha, have an extraordinary advantage over the rest of us. We have seen problems as they have been created. We have tried to find answers in the methods that we knew worked in other parts of the world. But we have also found that those methods will not work in a country like India. They haven't worked for the world, they will not work for us. So your advantage, and I'm really envious that you are going to find the opportunity to completely do things differently. You don't have to fight as we did to make sure that we got our ideas, which seemed so out of the box, to be understood. When we talked about pesticides in soft drinks, the first thing that we were told, but pesticides are needed. There's a whole idea behind the fact that you have to grow food, you need to chemicalize your food. Today you're in a world where it is so well understood that we must not chemicalize our food. We must not create poison that we eat. We must avoid ultra-processed food. We understand the context of food and diets. We understand today, and the learning from Odisha, the incredible learning from Odisha, has been to understand how you can take land races, traditional crops, rain-fed areas can become prosperous through the use of growing crops, which are then procured by government, nutritious crops, which can feed the midday meal schemes. You have connected the dots between nutrition and farmer prosperity. That you don't have to impoverish the soil, you don't have to chemicalize the food, you don't have to process and ultra-process the food only to get wealth. That you can create a local economy built on good food, which is good for nutrition as well. But the most important learning has been that for us, and this is a learning that you will be able to take forward, that after decades of work, we have understood that productivity of food depends on soil biodiversity. The health of soils is what determines the productivity of our food crops. And how do you build the biodiversity in the soil is through growing multiple crops so that you can build the strength of your soil. So biodiversity has come home to us Biodiversity is about what we eat on our plates. It is not only about what we grow in the wild, but the celebration of biodiversity in the food we eat. Because the more multiple food we eat, the more it improves our gut and it improves the soil. So you are really seeing the strength of ideas coming out of our world, which are capturing the imagination of the rest of the world. One of the biggest challenges that we face when it comes to climate change is the question of water. It's the question of how are we going to build our cities so that we can make sure that our cities do not first extract the water and clean water and then throw into our rivers more and more dirty water or excreta. That whole understanding over the last 3 decades in India, when India started with its Ganga River Action Program to now, has been that you can never clean your rivers unless you make sure that the system of sanitation in our cities is inclusive. That everybody has a toilet and everybody's excreta is collected, intercepted, treated, and put back on the soil. Not in the river, but in the soil. So you are building a circular economy, but also an inclusive economy. Again, in Odisha, you have an advantage. You are a model for the rest of the country because what you have done is to build not an underground sewerage network system, which we know is capital intensive, it is resource intensive, it divides between the rich and the poor of our cities, it does not allow the municipality to be able to provide clean water and take back the sewage of all. You have completely changed the paradigm. You decided as a state that you will go for non-sewered sanitation. It was bold, it was courageous, because every water engineer will tell you, no sir, that will not work, it will add to cholera, it will add to pollution. But the fact is, this is the courage that it will take to take forward a new pathway. An imagination that you have to provide inclusive growth for it to be sustainable. By doing so, you have made sure that you can intercept the sewage of everyone, you can treat it, and now the challenge is how do you put it back on the soil so that you can take human excreta and make it part of a resource. This is the scientific challenge. This is the opportunity. And just imagine what a brave new world you are coming to, where these ideas are taking root, where you are no longer chasing tired old ideas of, oh, I have to clean up my plastic. Plastic is not even an issue. The issue is segregation. The issue is making waste into a resource. The issue is thinking differently about how each one of us can be part of the change. But what excites me and what gives me courage and what gives me hope is just the fact that we as human beings, we in this country have found that it is not good enough for us to do what the rest of the world has done and brought us to this edge, this precipice of existential challenge. That we are prepared to do things differently. One of the areas that I hope that you will do, an area which I believe we have not done enough on, but when I came to Odisha 2 years ago and I went to see your community forest work, I was very encouraged to see how you can involve communities, not just in the protection of forests, but also in the management of forests, because what India needs is to build a wood-based economy. We need to take our natural resources and turn them into products that are sustainably harvested, sustainably used, but that the benefits of that go to the local communities. We need to build on this green future because we need jobs. We need to build an economic resilience to counter the huge threats that we have to our growth, to our very survival, to livelihoods. Just think of the Himalayas this year. Think of Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, and then of course Punjab, which gets the waters from the Himalayas. In 90 days of June, July, and August, 90 days, Himachal Pradesh got rain for 89 days. There was cloudburst after cloudburst, which led to landslides, loss of property, complete destruction of infrastructure. That tells us that we will have to do development differently in the Himalayas and across the country. If we build without taking into account the ecology of the area, we will have devastation. But if we want to limit growth, if we want to limit what we mean by economic growth, we will have to find new answers so that we can take limited economic growth and turn it into wealth. The frugality and the ingenuity that we can put into taking our future forward is what is needed. So once again, let me thank Tathagat for inviting me. I'm really grateful that you did. I can see in the room enormously powerful people, not because of the position they hold, but because the fact that they have the ability to change this world. And they can change this world because they have ideas which have imagination, which have courage, and they have the ability to stand behind them. At the end of the day, an idea is an idea. It's your commitment, it's your passion, it's the ability to collaborate, as you said so beautifully, your ability to come together to find ways to be able to move forward. And this to me is really what the environmentalism of today needs. An ability to be able to pursue our commitment, but to keep looking for the way ahead. We know the problems exist. What we need is answers, and we need to stand behind the answers that will take us and our courage. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, madam. First of all, for doing what you're doing, because you have devoted your entire life to the cause, and had you not started back then probably things would have been way worse than it is today. So thank you for that. And secondly, for giving us a completely fresh perspective and outlook towards we are discussing climate change and finding solution. So solution is not always shunning away things, but also we can make the most out of what we are given. So thank you so much for sharing that perspective. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time that I welcome our chief guest for today's Dharitri Youth Conclave 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, she is a woman whose dedication has not only, the dedication towards conservation has not only transformed an entire ecosystem, but also has transformed an entire community. Ladies and gentlemen, our chief guest, Madam Purnima Devi Barman, fondly known as the Hargilo Baideo of Assam, is one of India's most inspiring wildlife conservationists. Her remarkable journey began with a single mission: saving the endangered greater adjutant stork, a species once neglected and misunderstood. Through her vision and relentless efforts, she mobilized thousands of women into the powerful Hargila army, turning a vulnerable bird into a symbol of culture, cultural pride, and environmental responsibility. Her work has not only protected the species, but also empowered rural women, strengthened conservation awareness, and inspired global recognition. For her extraordinary contributions, ladies and gentlemen, she has been honored with some of the highest accolades, including the United Nations Champion of Earth Award, placing her amongst the world's leading environmental change makers. Please join me as I invite our chief guest, the exceptional conservation icon, Madam Purnima Devi Barman.
Get enough hope, enough optimism when I see all the youths like you. So all the distinguished guests on the dais, my pranam and my respect to all of you. And yes, I was introduced as Purnima, right? But I request everyone to forget my name forever, because I come here as the Hargila bird, the greater adjutant stork, locally called as Hargila in Assam. Hargila, Har plus Gila, means bone swallowers. So I come here as Hargila bird, and I want to show you the Hargila bird in a different way. And you can see the Hargila bird in my Assamese attire. Can you see the Hargila bird in my Assamese attire? So you can see the Hargila bird. This is made by all our women. We have over 20,000 women who have mobilized as Hargila army, and they make this. And Madam said about livelihood. So livelihood and conservation go hand in hand. They cannot be isolated. We integrate livelihood to conservation, and we always say, wherever I come, our passion becomes fashion. So I always tell this, yeah. Can you notice, please? You can see, or maybe later on you can come and see my ear, the Hargila birds in my ears. Can you see it? Then you can see it in my neck piece. Can you see the Hargila bird? Yeah, then I want to be the Hargila bird now again. So you can see. Yeah. 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 In the flight, it got a bit damaged, but I'll fix it. But still, I'm very happy that I could bring it and show to you, so all of you. Now, I have a request to everyone, and especially all the youth change makers. So to dream and dream and dream. Please close your eyes and dream with me. Dream abundance of dreams. So please fly like the Hargila bird. Yeah, so please, everyone, please fly like the Hargila birds. Dream and dream. Yeah, nobody can stop you. We can fly. We can soar high like the Hargila birds. And imagine you are flying and you are landing on a kadam tree, a huge tree. Just imagine fly like the Hargila birds, and we are landing in some trees like the Hargila birds. Just imagine, and let's celebrate the optimism and hope. And now use your hands like the beak of the Hargila bird. Please join like the beak of the Hargila birds, and please join. Tak tak tak, tak tak tak, tak tak tak, tak tak tak. Once more, tak tak tak, tak tak tak. Now please say fast with me. Tak 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 tak. Please say fast with me. Tak 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 tak. Please continue. Tak 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 tak. Thank you so much, everyone. everyone. Let's have a big round of applause for everyone. Yeah. So you might be wondering what is this bizarre. So let me keep this here for a while. If you allow. So you might be wondering what this bizarre sound is this, right? So this is called bill clattering. Say with me, bill clattering. So when I used to climb 100-feet bamboo platforms in my daily life, and I used to watch the hargila birds, their breeding behavior, their nesting pattern, and they do these sounds, and it remains in my ears all the time. I also have a few slides. Could you please operate the slides for me? I would like to, I want you to see the birds. It's coming or not? Yeah. It's coming, right? Yeah. So yeah, today I'm bringing the story from Assam, a story of coexistence and a story of love, a story from our village, and how our communities come forward and how they convert some negative thoughts, a bad omen, to a cultural icon, a pride, a love. So that is the story that I want to present. And when I am requesting everyone, when I'm telling about the hargila birds, every moment, please note that we are addressing for every species of the planet, not only the hargila birds, right? We have to save every species. We have to save our world. So yeah, next please. So unfortunately, I cannot operate it because of some system, so I have to say next. Okay. So meet some of our women. It's not coming here, right? Okay, it's coming? Okay. So meet some of our women, Hargila Army. Next, please. You can, yeah. So yeah, today I'm going to share the story of love, the coexistence. So this is the Hargila bird. Everyone can see the Hargila birds, right? Can you see the hargila birds? Yeah. So you can see how beautiful they are. It's all about, everyone can imagine like their own height. They have a gular, inflatable gular pouch, and they have a long beak, blue eyes, and they are so charismatic. But can you believe this bird was treated as bad omen, or a bad luck, or many negative thoughts, or a pest, and I had to face this when I started my work. So today I'm going to tell this story. Yeah. Next, please. Yeah. So this bird, when I started my work, it was in 2007. There were about 400 birds, and it was, you can skip, please go ahead. Yeah, this bird was often poisoned or persecuted or treated as bad omen. And this was a common story. And once the birds select a tree, people, because they are scavenger birds, and here their importance lies also, but people didn't understand. So they are scavenger birds, and people just, when they come and select a tree, people just cut down the tree. And how everything started, it was in 2007, and at that time I was a new mother of my twin babies, and I was also studying for my PhD. And I was studying, and at that time it was not possible for me to do much. And I didn't know anything about conservation. And one day an incident changed my life. I got a call from a person in a village, and I saw a man cutting down a huge nesting tree which was housing 9 nests, and all the baby birds fell down. And I dared to speak to the person as Dada. Dada means elder brother. Dada, why did you do so? This bird is in the breeding seasons. They have babies. And then this person and his neighbors, everyone was so angry on me. They started scolding me and telling me that this bird is a bad omen. Just take it away. We don't need this bird. It doesn't need to live. And something ignited in me, and I think I was a new mother, and something ignited in me, and I was thinking that I only wanted to do my PhD, but what about the birds? So we have to change the mindset, change the perception, and that day that day something happened in my life, some changes happened in my life, and I think that was the turning point in my life, and I realized that this bird should be a part of our tradition and culture. culture. And I just paused my PhD at that time, and I started, and I realized that this is something, a mission that I have to work with people. And all the time people started scolding this bird as bad omen. I thought that they are scolding my daughters, my babies. And something I found them together, all the baby Hargila birds. And this way actually my journey started, and everything was challenge, full of challenge only. And so this way, but only one solution was there, that we have to bring the birds into our hearts and culture. So this way we started working with communities, and especially with the women. And I started inviting our women, but nobody came, nobody bothered. My meeting was empty. So I got a solution to bring all our women to cooking competition, cooking festivals. And here please stop for a while. I want to share something. So our women started coming like anything, and I befriended with them, and I started telling them about the web of life that I want to share with you. The web of life that doesn't let me sleep. All the day, all the night, so it doesn't let me sleep. So the web of life, the interconnectedness, how we all are connected, every species, every animal, that river, the tree, everyone, and where we are also a part of it. So this way I started befriending with our women, that cooking competition, cooking festival idea clicked, and our women started coming like anything. And I started working with the nest tree owners, meeting them, telling them about the Hargila birds. They are the cleaner birds. So this way I started a little bit, but then there was an idea came, and that's why I have a question to all of you. I want to ask you, have you ever visited the baby shower or god bharai of a bird or an animal? Have you ever visited? No? So you must come to Assam. We celebrate baby shower, the god bharai, Panchamrit ceremony for the Hargila birds, like the way we do for our Assamese expectant mothers. So why the difference? When Hargila birds are breeding, then the trees are cut down and they are labeled as bad omen. And when we are in the motherhood, we celebrate our baby shower, Panchamrit ceremony or god bharai. So this way everything changed, and baby shower is now a mission in our village. We celebrate it all the time. And this way our women connected motherhood into conservation. So we don't impose policies, we don't impose laws. We just connect Hargila birds into our motherhood. We listen to them. And this way we started, and I'm so proud to mention that one day we formed, from a small band of women, we formed a huge movement, huge army of women whom we call as Hargila Army. All women army, Hargila Army. So it happened spontaneously. Nothing was planned. It happened. And Hargila Army is such a huge movement now. It's like a sisterhood. Over 20,000 women have joined. Their families have joined. And when we pledge Hargila Army, it's not about, you might be questioning, you are only working with women. No, it's like when a Hargila Army woman joins as Hargila Army, her duty is to bring her children, her husband, everyone. And this way we do a family movement, and it's so expanding. And I'm so proud that it's been almost 20 years. Now Hargila Army is not under my control. It's our women's movement, and it's Bayon, it's Bayon every day. So we can see like how we integrate the Hargila birds. Our women also do the Hargila campaign in community, Gita Bhagavat procession, and all the rituals, all the celebration, and the Nam Kirtan. Have you ever heard about the Nam Kirtan? Our Assamese Nam Kirtan, the folk songs. I will try to remember a song maybe. Like how our women come, and this gives me a message of hope and coexistence. Bilore parote, Hargila sorae, patise rongore mela. You can clap with me. Bilore parote, Hargila sorae, patise rongore mela. আমি হবে মিলি ওলাই আহিছো সংৰক্ষণ কৰো গৈ বলা বিলৰে পাৰতে হাৰগিলা চৰায়ে পাতিছে ৰঙৰে মেলা আমি হবে মিলি ওলাই আহিছো সংৰক্ষণ কৰো গৈ বলা So I'm not this, I don't know how to sing. I'm just learning from our women. This is a, I think you can understand. Yeah, I think you can understand, right? Assam, it's very, we are sister language, I think. Like how the birds are on the bank of the wetlands and how they are celebrating the colors, the coexistence, and we, the Hargila army, with pride, we come forward to celebrate them, something like this. And when I was doing this, I was having goosebumps. I'm sorry for that. It happens with me, yeah, so. We also celebrate Hargila Wars in the wedding also. You can see earlier we were fired also. Why you are coming to celebrate in the weddings? But now everyone invite us. We have a wedding. They invite our Hargila army to do some campaigns in the wedding also. You can see it. Yeah, next please. So our work is not only saving the bird, it is beyond that, and it is empowering thousands and thousands of women and their leadership. For example, Jonali is my inspiration. And I cannot tell everyone's name, but with Jonali, I want to give a voice of every woman in the village who gives me inspiration every day. And for example, this is the gamosa, Assamese gamosa. I can show you also, it's in my bag. So Assamese gamosa, and now you can see the transformation, how Hargila birds become a part of our tradition, and we respect our Assamese gamosa in Assam. It's like our heart. And now I got so much confidence because we include livelihood into conservation, and our women are selling them all over the world through some global platforms. And the previous slide, please. The previous slide, yeah. The previous, yeah. I always ask a question to people like you when I meet. Can a piece of cloth can save a bird from extinction? Can a motif or design can save a bird from extinction? And my answer is yes. So that is the livelihood, yeah. So that's why I wanted to share with you. Next, please, yeah. So yeah, tourists come and as I told repeatedly, I'm saying that our passion becomes fashion, people love, and you can see like the bad omen, that was the negative thoughts in our mind, now it's a part of our fashion. So we can do it with every species. We have vultures, the many other species which are having the same stigma, and we can do it with everything. And I have also got enough confidence that we have to do it with our society, with our human society, because we have lots of dark thoughts in our society, and we have to remove together. We have to be the fighter of that, right? Next, please. So I'm so proud that our Hargila army, the dress, the Assamese Mekhela Sadar, the headdress, is a part of British Natural History Museum in London also, and in many other museums. And it is because of the love from the people like you, sir, and the madam, so it's happening. Yeah, so next please. Yeah, we can quickly go on also. So next please. Yeah. Next please. Yeah, so we also work a lot with children, and yeah, you can keep moving. Next please. Because they are our future leaders. And I want to show you our Hargila Learning Center, because I think many of the youths here, you might be a part of our Hargila Learning Center. In a school, we have Hargila Learning Center. And if you have any idea, any design, any game, environment education game, any songs, any art, painting, you can be a part of our Hargila Learning Center. And here you can see we don't miss any opportunity to create awareness. So I want to tell something about this picture. In Europe, in many places, the storks are regarded as carrier of babies. Stork carries babies. Have you heard about that? Please raise hands if you have heard about that. Yeah, and people keep asking me, and it is not in our place. So that I keep telling to our women, our children, and then we did a picture painting. It came out. So so that's why I wanted to share. And when we are saving a species, it is not only about the species, not about Hargila. Somewhere, out of nowhere, a design came out, a painting came out, changes of hearts and minds. We could meet so many people, youths like you, right? So it's beyond that. And when we are saving a species, it is saving a complex ecosystem and many other species, because it's like an umbrella species, right? And here we put nets under the nesting trees, and the baby birds fall down, and we save them, we rescue them, you can see. And so far we have rescued and rehabilitated. We rescued more birds, but everyone we couldn't save, but we rehabilitated over 500 baby birds in the wild. Yeah, I wanted to share with you. And sometimes this rescued bird is a part of some comics also. You can also contribute sometimes. Now, you might be questioning, so what is the impact of our work on the birds, on the status, on the birds? So with very pride, I want to share, I was sharing with Andrew sir also, that yesterday also we had a survey, and our storks populations are increasing, the nest numbers are increasing, and more than that, our communities have accepted this bird as part of their society, as children. And like 2010, from 2010, not a single tree has been cut down. And I want to share something. To my surprise, please go to the previous slide. To my surprise, last year, IUCN has declared this bird from endangered to near threatened, downlisted, and I was surprised, and I could see it in my lifetime, and I was surprised, and it is only because when our communities come forward, and so when we are working, so I want to tell everyone, all my youth friends, that you can also you can form your community, you can form an army of team among your youths, among your communities, and please start from something small. You don't need to do something big, and a small impact, a small work may cross the border one day. It can be a movement one day, and consistency is the key. And and when we work with communities while saving Hargila, I want to tell you that we are forming a resilient communities, and we all can do that. And I'm so proud that now we are working this, our work is regarded in many places now as a replicable model, and we are also replicating it in Cambodia. We have just started working there in Cambodia, and I want help from all of you. And in Kolkata, this bird was there in Kolkata long back, 50 years back. And you can Google, it was a part of the logo of the municipality also, but it's not there. And how can we take it as granted? Something is missing, we lost one species. So let's give a voice, let's do something together, if somebody is there from Kolkata, so that people can know that, you know, Hargila bird was there in Kolkata, and so that we do something more, so that we don't lose any species further. So we can do more and more. And youths like you, I want to tell you, the youths of Odisha, youths of India, ma'am already said that you are full of ideas, courage, power, creativity, and you can do anything. Every tree matters, every species matters, every animal matters, and you can convert fear into hope. Fear into hope, bad omen into a tradition and culture, and more than that, fear into hope. Let's work together. Let's start from something tiny, just come forward, make your hands dirty, do something small, and it will have a ripple effect one day. Thank you so much. Let's soar like Hargila, and tak, 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 tak. Thank you so much. I'm so honored. Thank you. Thank you so much. Jai Jagannath. Thank you.
Thank you very much, madam, for that wonderful address. Thank you very much for sharing your story with us. Your story of resilience, your story of success, and might I say you look lovely in that mekla chadar, jisme bhi stalk bane hue hain. So now we all know the story behind when we see an Assamese clothing and we see a bird. Where, how, when, all of that. And for all of those who think that अकेले हम क्या कर सकते हैं? Individually, as a person, what can we do? There is so much you can do. She is the inspiration. She has proved that अगर आप चाहें तो कुछ भी हासिल कर सकते हैं. Thank you very much, madam, for that address. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to invite a well-known name in Odisha, an editor and politician with an unblemished image. He has been the member of the Legislative Assembly and 4-time member of Parliament in Lok Sabha from his beloved constituency, Dhenkanal. He voluntarily chose to quit political life and return to full-time journalism in 2019. He took over as the editor of Dharitri in the year 1986 and turned it into one of the most popularly trusted newspaper that has now emerged as a successful brand known throughout the Oriya-speaking world. Passionate about environment, conservation, and issues concerning youth, he is known for his fearless vocalization of views on important matters of policy and polity. His strong editorials have many a times pointed out social injustices and helped bring justice to the affected. Ladies and gentlemen, as the editor of Odisha Post, an English daily, and Dharitri, an Oriya daily, he wields the pen to bring about social change and does justice. Please put your hands together for Shri Tathagat Satpathy.
Namaskar, Pranam, Johar. I seek permission from the amazing 3 speakers on our stage today to speak in Odia. आमे जो तीनोटी भाषण शुणिलु मुझे भाषण बोली कहबिनी 3 जन जाक तांकर अंतररू तांकर हृदयरू तांको मन भितरू जोटा को सेमाने सबुठु बेसी भल पाउछंती सेही भल पाइबाटा आम सम्मुखरे आनिकरी अजाड़ी देले मु तांको प्रति केमती कृतज्ञता ग्रेटिट्यूड जणैबी सेतिपई शब्द नहीं आमे मु इठी बसिथिबा बेले 3 प्रकार सेंसेशन की 3 प्रकार फिजिकल रिएक्शन मोर भी हैला रिएक्शन टा नेगेटिव ही जाउची मो रिएक्शन कहबिनी फिजिकल सेंसेशन हैला एमानकर कथा सुनिकिरी सेतिपई मु आउ अधिक किछि कहबा को चाहेनी गुटी गुटी कथा एंड्रू फ्लेमिंग सर जहाँ कहले तांको कथारू आपण माने बुझले जे गोटे पृथ्वी व्यापी गोटे समस्या सृष्टि होईची जो समस्या को आमे समस्ते जानुचे एवं ताकू केमिति आमे सामना करिबा से विषय रे सुनीता नारायण किछि दिग्दर्शन देले गोटे कथा मो मनरे गोटे छप पकेला गोटे थोप पकेला जे प्रत्येक लोकलाइज्ड कम्युनिटी जदि से माने निजे बंचिबार निजे केमिति उधेइबे केमिति से माने सुस्थ रहिबे जदि भाबी पारिबे ताल हुए तो ये जो कोल्ड ड्रिंक्स रे पेस्टिसाइड पीवा को न भी पड़ी पारे एवं शेषरे हैप्पी बर्थडे टू यू मैडम मे यू लिव very very long and in this charming smiling happy manner that you distribute happiness as the hargila bird which does tut 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 से भावरे आपण गोटे आम मन भितर actually she gave me a high and I have a few colleagues here who will understand what I mean that it is an excitement where you do not need any external object to feel that heightened sensation or consciousness. You do not need alcohol or you do not need anything else. It is a consciousness, it is a mental trip, and she gave that mental trip also. So ମୁଁ ଏତିକି କହିବି ଯେ ଆଦ୍ୟାଶା ଶତପଥୀଙ୍କର ନେତୃତ୍ୱରେ ଆମେ ଧରିତ୍ରୀରେ କିଛି 7 ବର୍ଷ 8 ବର୍ଷ ହେଲାଣି ଏହି କ୍ଷେତ୍ରରେ କାର୍ଯ୍ୟ କରୁଛୁ ଆମେ ଖାଲି ଯେ just one meeting annually here in Bhubaneswar in a hotel, that is not the end all and be all. Adyasha Satpathy and I, we traveled to the innermost, the core areas, the rural areas of Odisha. We have been doing throughout the year, we continue this. It's only once in a year that we invite some of the exceedingly hard-working and sincere people from across the state to come here. This year we have been privileged to have had partnerships with FES. Meena Madam has been very kind to have joined us. Then we have Om Babu. Then we have Somya Babu. And we've also been privileged to have the former PCCF of Odisha as an active collaborator who has guided the work. And we have further in the process of the day, we will be seeing Srimati Chami Murmu Madam, who is an achiever, great achiever in her own right. So ame Dharitri re ye गोटे पुश गोटे लड़ई माने भी सब बेले मो मन रे आसे जे दी पट जाग लड़ुछंती जेमती गोटे गुली विनिमय आ गोटे एनकाउंटर आ गोटे मर्डर ये तीनिटार फरक रही जेमती सेमती आमे लड़ई करूनु किंतु आमे गोटे सचेतनता सृष्टि करने को चेष्टा करूछु जो थे कि प्रत्येक नागरिक जोटा सुनीता नारायण कहले प्रत्येक नागरिक सी तार कर्तव्यटा जदि बुझिकी सी जदि से लोकल कम्युनिटी भितर जदि परिवर्तनटा आनी पारिला ताले से परिवर्तनटा दीर्घमियादी रहिबो एवं से परिवर्तनटा हुए तो आम समस्त को सहाय्य करिवो। धरित्री से दिगरे कार्य करुची आद्याशा शतपथी नेतृत्व में धरित्री टीम ओडिशा पोस्ट टीम समस्त को मु धन्यवाद देवी एवं आद्याशा सांगे जो माने समस्ते काम करुछंती एवं करिवे मो भली मुसा मध्य आमे समस्ते निजको तो पैट करूछु अरे वाह बढ़िया काम आमे करूछु सेथरे आमे समस्ते बहुत दुरंदर निजको प्रशंसा करबा पई कि मु सब बेले आगे थाए मत भारी खुशी भी लगे से किसी असुविधा नहीं किंतु असुविधाटी हुए केतबेले जे कार्य न करिकिरी जेतबेले प्रशंसा करा जाए सो आमको से गोटे शिक्षा मिलानी आद्याशा थरु जे काम न करिकिरी प्रशंसा नियनी जदि काम करूछ जदि डेलीवर करि पारुछ ताहले प्रशंसा नेले किसी असुविधा नहीं से कि धरित्री ओडिशा पोस्ट आमे ए कार्य करने को चाहूचु करुचु एवं करिबु मध्य ओडिशा रे परिवर्तन आनिबा को एवं ओडिशा जोटा अगेन से कथाटा को सुनीता मैडम अनेक थर कहले जे ओडिशा होची गोटे पायनियर स्टेट अनेक जिनस अनेक स्कोप एठी भी अच्छी आमे एठी भी आमरी क्षेत्र रे आमर सीमित संबल रे आमे किछि काम करि परिबा अनेक काम करि परिबा जहार कि सुफलटा आमरी समाज को आमरी राज्य को मिलिबो एवं आम राज्य जदि आगे रही पारला समग्र पृथ्वी आज जो परिस्थिति रे अछि जो माने COP30 रो रिजल्ट देखुछंती गोटे एते बड़ बड़ देश एते बड़ बड़ नेता ये गोटे समाधान को आसी पारु नहांती ये बुझी पारु नहांती जे अरे आमे समस्ते मरी जिबा तुमे पैसा नै करी जीव कुआडे ए धन नै करी जीव कुआडे ए जो खणी बाहर करी पकोउचो ई सब जहा करूचो जेतोले मरी जिबा ଯେତେବେଳେ 6ଟି ବାଉଁଶରେ ସେ ବି ପୁଣି 3ଟା ବାଉଁଶ କୁଆଡ଼େ ଅଧାରେ କଟା ହେଇଥିବ ବୋଲି ମୁଁ ଶୁଣିଛି, ମୁଁ ତ ଯାଇନି ଏପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ। କିନ୍ତୁ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଯିବା ସେ 6ଟି ବାଉଁଶରେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ନଦା ହେଇକିରି ଆମେ ଯିବା, ସେତେବେଳେ କ'ଣଟା ନେଇକିରି ଯିବା ସାଙ୍ଗରେ? ଇଏ ଗୋଟେ ରେଟୋରିକ୍, ଗୋଟେ ବହୁତ ପୁରୁଣା କଥା, ଖାଲି ହାତରେ ଆସିଛେ ଖାଲି ହାତରେ ଯିବା। ନାଇଁ, ମୁଁ କହୁନି ଖାଲି ହାତରେ ଯିବା, ଆମେ ସବୁ ଧରିକିରି ଯିବା, ମାଡ଼ି ବସିକିରି ଯିବା। ଏମିତି ମାଡ଼ି ବସିବା ଯେ ଯେଉଁ କୋଠା ବାଡ଼ି ଯେଉଁ ଜମି ସବୁ ଆମେ ସଂଗ୍ରହ କରି ନେଉଛେ, ଯେଉଁ ଘର, ଏ ଯେଉଁ ଜମି ସବୁ ଆଜ୍ଞା ଦିଆହେଉଛି, ଖଣ୍ଡେ ଖଣ୍ଡେ କେଉଁ ଗୋଟେ କିରାନୀଟିଏ ସିଏ ଗୋଟେ କାଗଜ ଖଣ୍ଡେ ଦେଇଦେଉଛି ମୋତେ, ତାର ଦସ୍ତଖତ ଥାଇକିରି ତା ଦସ୍ତଖତ ବି ଆଉ 2 ବର୍ଷ ପରେ ସେ ନିଜେ ଚିହ୍ନି ପାରିବନି, ବ୍ୟାଙ୍କକୁ ନେଲେ ତା ବ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ବାଲା ବି ମନା କରିଦେବ, ମୁଁ ତ ଜାଣିପାରିବିନି କାରଣ ମୁଁ ସେ ଲୋକକୁ ଜାଣିନଥିବି। ତାର ଦସ୍ତଖତରେ ମୁଁ ଭାବୁଛି ଆରେ ଏ ଜମିର ମାଲିକ ମୁଁ। କିନ୍ତୁ ସେ ଜମି ଏଗେନ୍ ସେଇ କଥାଟି ବି ସୁନିତା ନାରାୟଣ କହିଲେ ଯେ ଜମି ଭିତରକୁ ଯାହା ଯାଉଛି ସେଇ ଅନୁସାରେ ତୁମର ଖାଦ୍ୟ, ୟୋର ଫୁଡ୍, जोटा कि तुमको तैयारी करुच्ची सेठू ही आसुची। सो आमे कौन सेठी जाऊची, कौन सेठी जाइची, जो बिलियंस ऑफ इयर्स हेलानी ये पृथ्वी अच्छी आ बिलियंस ऑफ इयर्स रहिबो जो पर्यंत सूर्यटी ब्लैक स्टार रहीची, से भितरे आमे कौन करछे ना खंडे खंडे कागज धरी आमे भावुचे जे आमे हेलु यारो मालिक। सो सेई चिंताधारा ऊर्ध्व को जाइकिरी आमे कौन करि परिबा जहाद्वारा कि गोटे प्रभाव आमे पकई परिबा, आमे जतिकी क्षणक पाई बंचीचे प्रभाव पकई परिबा जे गोटे सुंदर पृथ्वी हेइकिरी, गोटे समृद्ध पृथ्वी हेइकिरी, गोटे सबुज पृथ्वी हेइकिरी ए पृथ्वी बाहरु से दिगरे आमे धरित्री एवं ओडिशा पोस्ट तरफ कार्य करूचु करिबु। एवं आपण माने आज जो माने आसीछंती हमर शंकर जी हुंतु, मित सिजारिया हुंतु, मीना मैडम, जो जो माने समस्त एठी अछंती, हमर एठी ऑनरेबल गेस्ट जो 3 जण अछंती, समस्त को मु मोर हार्दिक धन्यवाद जणाउची, कृतज्ञता ज्ञापन करूची। एवं आम सम्मुखरे जो पिला माने जो युव शक्ति ओडिसा रे बसछंती, ओडिशार बसी मु एमती युवक मैंने जे पृथ्वीटा को नौटई देवे सेटा भी मु विश्वास करेनी, कारण मु युव शक्तिर भी देखुची तांकर जो दोष दुर्बलता, तांकर जो ब्लिंकिट रु खाइबा मगेवा, तांकर जो खबर कागज न पढ़िकी मोबाइल फोन धरिबा, ये सब गुड़ाक भी मु देखुची, सेथरे भी मो मनटा दुख होउची जे तांको भविष्य हबो कोन। सो तांको भविष्य सी भावुंट तुम्हें व्यस्त होनी, तुम्हें मरिकी दयाकरी जाओ, आम भविष्य आम गढ़ू, ठीक अच्छे तुम्हें गढ़, किंतु पृथ्वीटा बंचिले तो तुम भविष्य तुम्हें गढ़, आम तो मरबू, किए न मरब किए, आम तो मरबू, आम तो जीवु, किंतु मरला परे ए पृथ्वीटा केमती बंचिब सेटा विषय जदि भी भाविबा आरंभ करते ताहले भी बहुत परिवर्तन आसी जाता। कि आपण मानक समस्त को धन्यवाद। एवं मु ए 3 जण स्पीकर्स को आमर जो 3 जण आज कहिले ए 3 जण एते 3 प्रकार एते सुंदर भाषण देले जे से सेंसेशन एबे भी मो देयर रहिछि। आई ऑनेस्टली not as the host who is very grateful that all of the guests have come today, but I honestly am very, very touched by all of you and your speeches and what ideas you have planted in our brains. Those who have received your ideas, I am sure whether it is an idea for the future or something that we can implement now, I am certain that something we are going to take back from here. Thank you so much. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. नमस्कार. जय जगन्नाथ.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर, आपनकर हृदय स्पर्शी मंतव्य एवं वक्तव्य उभय बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद से। Moving forward, before we move on to the next part of today's conclave, it is our duty, it is our honor, and of course, आप सभी की तरफ से हम सम्मानित करते हुए we would like to express our gratitude to our guests on the dais. Along with our editor, sir, I'll invite our CEO, Mrs. Adyasha Satpathy, to please join us on stage. And We'll begin with the felicitation of our dignitaries on the dais. I'll request Madam to please join, sir, on the stage. Let's have a round of applause and welcome Madam as well. And we are just beautifying the stage a little more. I would request Sir and Madam to kindly felicitate our special guest of honor, Dr. Andrew Fleming, British Deputy High Commissioner from Kolkata. Sir, thank you very much for your presence, for being a part of the 5th edition of Dharitri Youth Conclave 2025. Thank you very much. I would then request Sir and Madam to kindly honor and felicitate our Chief Speaker, Srimati Sunita Narayan, Editor Down to Earth, Padma Shri, Madam Sunita Narayan. And now, the lady who is leading her life by an example for others, our chief guest, Dr. Purnima Devi Barman. Eminent biologist and conservationist. Yes, actually, well, let's wish her a very, very happy birthday and a prosperous life ahead. Thank you very much. With this, I thank our esteemed guests on the dais. I would invite them to please take their seats in the front of the stage, and please be a part of the rest of the day as well. Your presence will motivate us a lot for sure. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we now move on to our panel discussion for the day. I'll begin by inviting our very first panelist, Madam Adyasha Satpathy, CEO Dharitri and Odisha Post. I would invite Madam to please come on stage. Our moderator for the session, Shri Arun Krishnamurthy. Ladies and gentlemen, the dynamic founder of Environmentalist Foundation of India. He is renowned for leading lake restoration efforts across the country, including Odisha. He brings unmatched experience in environmental advocacy and grassroots conservation. His impactful work has earned him several prestigious honors, including the British Council International Climate Champion Award, the Rolex Award for Enterprise, and the Jane Goodall Institute Global Youth Leadership Award. I would invite our CEO, Madam Adyasha Satpathy, to please come on stage and present a flower bouquet and welcome Shri Arun Krishnamurthy, our moderator for the session. Ladies and gentlemen, under his leadership, EFI has restored nearly 200 water bodies, combining community participation with innovative conservation methods. With his deep commitment to the environment, he is the perfect person to guide today's discussion. Well, thank you very much, sir. Welcome. May you please be seated. Our next panelist, Madam, आपको भी अनुरोध है आसन ग्रहण करने के लिए. Our next panelist for the session is Shri Karthik Shankar. Ladies and gentlemen, he's an evolutionary ecologist and founder trustee of Dakshin Foundation. He sometimes is a guitar player as well, an occasional writer of children's fiction, and practices drums. Currently, he serves as an associate professor for the Center of Ecological Sciences, Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, at CES, where he also worked for his doctoral degree. He supervises student research on a range of taxa, including frogs, reptiles, bird, plant, reef fish, and other marine fauna. His work at Dakshin is embedded in the belief that those social, cultural, and political contexts largely determine conservation outcome. He has authored From Soup to Superstar, a historical account of sea turtle conservation in India. In his spare time, he also seeks to distract young minds through children's stories, which include Laurie's Magical Mystery, Turtle Story, The Adventures of Philautus Frog, and Moonlight in the Sea. His work has taken him to the beaches of Odisha, Tamil Nadu and the Andamans, Lakshadweep and into the jungles of Nilgiris. He is interested in marine turtle biology and conservation. Also, he studies leatherback turtles in Little Andaman Island, olive ridley turtles in Odisha, and has initiated studies on green turtles in Lakshadweep Island. Sir, a very good morning and a very, very warm welcome. And thank you for joining us as a panelist. Our very next panelist, ladies and gentlemen, we have a young leader who proves that age is no barrier to impact. Mr. Meet Sajaria is a dynamic social entrepreneur and a sophomore at Shahid Sukhdev College of Business Studies, University of Delhi. While most students are planning their future, he is already shaping India's leading and agri-focused grant fund with the government of Maharashtra and contributing to the national youth policy through the World Economic Forum and the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. Globally, he represents 1.5 billion young people as the Vice Chair of the Commonwealth Youth Climate Change Network and is the youngest shaper in the World Economic Forum's Under 30 network, as well as a Mercedes-Benz Global Fellow. As an ecosystem builder, he directs Hult Prize India, the Nobel Prize for Students, and founded the Indian Vidyarthi, now active in 150 cities across 20 countries. He has spoken at leading national and international platforms, including the Kailash Satyarthi Children's Foundation and G20 Youth Talks. Thank you so much, Mr. Meet, for joining us, and welcome to Dharitri family. Our very next panelist, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome Dr. Debabrata Swai, founder of the Save Elephant Foundation Trust. He is the former Principal Chief Conservator of Forest and Head of Forest Force, Odisha, and also has served as a member of Lokyukta Odisha. A leading expert on elephant conservation, he earned his PhD from Utkal University in 2001 and has spent decades working in wildlife protection. He served as director of Similipal Bioreserve and Tiger Reserve for over 5 years, while also coordinating the Mayurbhanj Elephant Reserve. Dr. Swai has headed the National Tiger Conservation Authority in New Delhi and has received prestigious recognitions including the Fulbright Fellowship in Environmental Leadership, the Charles Willard Fellowship at Howard University, and the Eminent Environmentalist of Odisha Award in 2019. Author of Secrets of Similipal and Asian Elephants, Past, Present and Future, he also has contributed extensively to International Scientific Journal. Recently, he has also founded the NGO Corruption Free Odisha to promote awareness and integrity in the society. So a very warm welcome, Dr. Swai, to the conclave and to the panel. And with this, I now hand over to our moderator for this session, Shri Arun Krishnamurthy, sir. Please.
Namaskar, Jai Jagannath. Good afternoon. The Dharitri Youth Conclave is a crucial platform in Odisha for environment conservation. If you are from rest of India and if you're wondering as to what's happening in Bhubaneswar every year on the 24th of November, a leading publication actually brings together youth and nature conservationists from across Odisha and introduces them to national players such as those who are here with us today, and thereafter set a narrative for real-time result-oriented conservation on ground. And getting people together like this is crucial at this given point because there's a lot of talk when it comes to nature conservation, very little action. And this platform aims at promoting those who are involved in real-time action, giving them the network to meet with such people who have the experience, giving them the resources so that they can on field be there, spend the money, time, effort in delivering results. And to continue with this over the last 5 years and for the years to come, this is true sustainability. If you're in the audience, you technically should be focused on this panel as not just another place where you'll hear people speak. For example, Mr. Karthik Shankar. If you go online and you search for sea turtle images, whether it's one of the Aribada photograph or the images of a leatherback sea turtle from Andamans, he's the man behind it, and I'll tell you why it's crucial. As a school-going kid, we were introduced to sea turtles through his images. And if I was a school student in this audience, having him on stage would mean that I can technically walk up to him during lunch, talk to him about sea turtles, get to know more, and I'm sure he's looking for younger people who could carry forward the mantle and the experience that he's built over the years. Or sir, who's sitting immediate left of me, who's been the principal chief conservator of forest, who's been at Simlipal, who's worked with elephants. He technically knows how the administration works. He actually has drafted policies, implemented work. And if you were behind the scenes, push of a button, a phone call, anybody in the administration reaches out to him, and there's a lot of network that he carries along with experience. So this is the culmination of the experienced and the youth. And the previous panel, I don't even have to mention as to what kind of experience were there. People from Delhi, people from Kolkata, all these people who can be brought together for some real-time work. And how do we, of course, take the grassroots local heroes who are here, and how we deliver results is the goal. And then there's this young man from Delhi who's actually using his position as a student, an urban Indian. He's using every platform. Maybe you should take more stories from Odisha to him, so he represents Odisha at a stronger level. And nothing to say more about Madam Adhyasa, her entire vision for bringing a lot of youth into this. It's a lonely battle that Dharitri and Odisha Post is fighting out there with select set of people who are supporting them over the years. And I think we should make Dharitri and Odisha Post our own, where we make this a platform for the turtles, for the elephants, for the rivers, for the lakes, for the forests of Odisha, and head out and deliver results. With that introductory note, I'm going to invite Sri Karthik Shankar to take the podium for his presentation. It's a beautiful storytelling. I'm sure you'll enjoy, sir, please. His slides can also be projected. So we're requesting you to keep it 5 to 7 minutes so that we could come back for questions. And the other panelists would be on for answering multiple questions. Please pay full attention and frame a lot of questions that you can take back during lunch for them.
Thank you, Arun. While the slides are coming up, let me thank Team Dharitri and Odisha Post and Sri Tathagata and Madam Adhyasha Satpathy. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thanks Arun for the introduction. I discovered that you're from Madras Christian College. He was born the year that I joined college, which sort of gives like this sort of generational transfer kind of idea. And 2 years after that, we actually started the Student Sea Turtle Conservation Network, which is a students group which we started as college students, and we thought it may last 2 or 3 years. Nearly 40 years later, that students group is still active, so it sort of gives an idea of the power of student sort of action and movement. And in all those years, it's been primarily run by students in Chennai. Anyway, I thought I couldn't come to Odisha and not show a few slides about olive ridley turtles. And so I asked Madam Adhyasha for permission to speak for a few minutes. As you all know, and many of you may have seen, Odisha is one of the few places in the world, next slide please, a few places in the world where you get these mass nesting where hundreds of thousands of turtles come and nest together. The two major beaches in Odisha are of course in Gahirmata and Rushikulya, and most of my work for the last 20 years has been in Rushikulya. Actually, this marks roughly about the 25th year of my working here. This is a very interesting history. The first report of this beach and of these turtles in Gahirmata was in 1727. So, 300 years ago, when a British ship's captain actually reported seeing turtles over there. It was discovered by the scientific community in the 1970s, and then Gahirmata was discovered in the 70s by a Scottish biologist, and then other nesting beaches were found in the 80s and 90s. Now, what you would have heard about this is that in the 70s and 80s, there was mass sort of take of eggs. 1 million eggs were collected every year and transported to Kolkata. Turtles were transported by train. It is recorded that 50 to 80,000 turtles were transported each year. When the Wildlife Act was enacted, the Forest Department and the Coast Guard and the police slowly sort of stopped this direct take, but still people believed it had a huge impact. And by the 80s and 90s, 10,000, 20,000 turtles were being killed each year. There was an Odia biologist at the Wildlife Institute of India, Dr. Bevash Pandav, who did his PhD on these turtles and brought to light how many turtles were dying. So, next slide. In 2003, based on all this information, or based on all the data that he and others had collected, we had said that, and we had plotted these graphs of, how many turtles nested in the Aribadas. We found high levels of mortality. We had found, just stay on the previous slide for a second, please. Yeah, we had found that even the size of the adults had gone down. So in 2003, in a scientific paper, we said a very sharp decline in this population is imminent. Conservationists have to do everything. There has to be tremendous protection and so on. Now, we started the monitoring program then in Rushikulya. Over the last 20 years, we have found steadily that in Rushikulya it's gone up from about 25 to 50,000 turtles to over 200, 300,000 turtles a year. Next slide. This is in 2013 when that year I think about 200 to 300,000 turtles nested. Next slide. This year there was a first Aribada of 500,000 turtles and a second Aribada of 300,000 turtles, 350, 909 lakh turtles nested in Rushikulya. In between, some number of turtles nested in Gahir Mata, maybe another couple of lakhs, more than 10 lakh turtles, 1 million turtles nested in Odisha this year. So, as Purnima said, the stock was also downlisted to near threatened. The olive ridley turtle, by the time it is next, IUCN does an assessment, they may not consider it threatened at all. Now, in 2025, we basically know that large number of turtles are nesting. We really believe that the population of Odisha, olive ridleys in Odisha is increasing dramatically despite the mortality. The mortality is still going on, but this is a population that is actually able to sustain that level of mortality. And that really must make us think about what is conservation. Next. So I think this is a background for, we only hear doom and gloom stories about conservation in India, right? But if you look at wildlife, elephants have increased, tigers have increased, leopards have increased. Most wild animals that people are focused on, now just pause for a second, I'll tell you. Most wild animals have increased, and this has to now bring us to question, this sort of model of conservation that we had, which was protect everything. We have to now really ask ourselves we have to be provocative and ask ourselves what should conservation be, right? When I said balancing human well-being and environment, I don't want to dwell on this, but the work that we do in Odisha it's only 20% of our work in Odisha is about turtles. 80% is working with communities on health. Please back up a second. Previous one. Yeah, just stop there for a second. 80% of our work is actually working with communities on health, livelihoods, governance, sports. I visited our program that's teaching the children how to learn ultimate frisbee. This is the focus of our work because this is what we believe is needed for long-term conservation of even of turtles or marine ecosystems or whatever it is. Now, Dr. Sunita very beautifully set up my last couple of slides because she spoke about sustainability and involving communities and benefits and so on. When I say I love turtles, what does everybody here think? They think I love turtles as animals, they think I love watching turtles, they think I love doing research on turtles. Next slide. If I say I love fish, how many people, put your hands up, how many people here eat fish? Macho. Huh? 80-90% I bet eat fish, right? If I say I love turtles, nobody thinks I love eating turtles. But if I say I love fish, next slide. Next. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, you can show the slide. Yeah. Go ahead and click. Yeah. It could be because they're beautiful. Keep rolling. It could be because they taste good. It could be because they make great risk. Keep rolling it. Keep rolling it. Keep rolling it. Because they are wonderful research models. They have amazing diversity. They are, some of them have medicinal value. I could be because I'm an ecologist. It could be for 100 different reasons. And each of these reasons, we think is valuable for us as a society to recognize regardless of what plant or animal it is. we need to look at all conservation as being, for us, possible to view from multiple viewpoints, multiple cultural viewpoints. I cannot say that because I'm a city dweller, I have this view, I love this animal for its beauty, and everybody must love it for the same reason as me. We must learn to recognize that there are different cultural perspectives and different benefits that people can get. Only then do I think that conservation as a social movement will work. So I'll stop there. Yeah, you can just close it out. I'll stop there, and thank you for giving me the I hope I didn't overstep. Yeah, thank you for giving me the time. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for showing us those images which actually inspire many across. I'm going to straight delve into the conversation with my panelists. If you're in the audience, my humble request is put your phone down. And if anybody in the audience is actually trying to talk to you, shush them. Yes, this is nature conservation at its best. People are trying to make some sense out of this conversation. And you don't have to worry about clicking photographs and videos. There are umpteen people doing that. So please let your brain waves match with them where you try to make sense of the conversation here. Simlipal to much, much more. And in the era of climate change, what is the real threat that our forest faces? Is the government actually ready? Whichever party is in power, does the government have the vision? And how is the government going to connect with the youth and get more activity on ground? If you could address that, and maybe could also keep it in Odia and English mix so a lot of people can reach.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Actually, this is the state of Odisha, and we are having actually 61,000 square kilometer of forest land as recorded forest land, which is about 40%. As per our mandate, there should be 33%, and it is now 40%. And you see, we have lot of mining. In spite of mining, our forest area is increasing day by day. So that is the positive part. And positive part ends here. Now the negative part is that we are, since long, 19 protected areas, means sanctuaries, and 2 national parks. Recently, Simlipal is included in the national park, but that is within that 19. So we have not added any inch of protected area since long. You see Maharashtra, which is having the same forest area, that is your 61,000 square kilometer, where they have the protected area more than 12,000 square kilometer. And we are having 61,000 forest area, and we are still 8,000 square kilometer of protected area. And the thing is that we are actually we are telling till now that our elephants are increasing, but in fact our elephant numbers are decreasing. And we are the state where the human mortality is the highest. Around 125 people, they are dying every year because of human-elephant, as you are telling it is interface, but we are telling it human-elephant conflict. Now we are trying it to make it human-elephant coexistence. But how is it possible when 125 people are dying every year? And you see, it is the largest. When we are having only 900 elephants, which is now recently censused by the Project Elephant. Only 900. And you see, if 1/3 of that elephant is tusker, and around 600 elephants are female elephant, and out of that, suppose around 300 elephant, 50% of that is productive elephant, and if the elephant, your gestation period and other thing, it is 5 years per calf, then there will be only 60 elephants. 60 elephants only every year they are born. And out of that, 90 elephants, more than that, they are being killed. They are being killed by these people, because when the people are dying, do you think they will keep the elephants safe? So 30 elephants every year, they are dying more than what are they are born. So if we see 900 elephants and then another, if this thing continues, then 30 years, but it will not continue like that. It will be accelerated. So within 10 to 15 years, we will not see any elephant thereafter. And the thing, our ecology principle says that larger the animal, it will die fast. Your tiger will die later. Though their numbers are 40 or 50, it will die later, but extinct later in Odisha, but elephants will extinct far earlier than that.
What should the youth do to not let that happen?
Yes, that is the thing that we see so much young people. Now I must thank Dharitri that they are doing this conclave to generate awareness, because you are now the concept of Gen Z people you are. So you can raise your voice. You can raise your voice. You can tell the people. Because you see, I have established the Save Elephant Foundation Trust because I was in the forest department. So we have taken Kuntuni area in Cuttack district, where every year 4 to 5 elephants used to die and 4 to 5 people used to die every year. But because of our intervention, we tell to the people, when elephant come to your village, don't do anything. Just send positivity, good vibration to them. Don't चिल्लाओ नहीं, हल्ला मत करो, ताकि हाथी आराम से बहुत माने जहाँ को कुआ जीवो से माने भलो भावरे रुहंतु. And they did that thing. For last 5 years, there is not single casualty of human being. There is not a single casualty of elephant. So if that thing spreads to all part of the state, I think there can be coexistence between elephant and human being, coexistence between wild animal and human being, and coexistence between our ecosystem. That can be done.
So there's a takeaway for all of you. If you are somebody young in this audience who wants to protect elephants of Odisha, he runs a foundation which is the Save Elephant Foundation. And a particular example that he's citing where community interaction, more on-field participation. So if you're worried about the elephant, it's not enough you just tweet about it. You technically should be volunteering with them, take up a full-time job with them, research with them, be with them on field, not just for 2 months and then quit, but technically work with them for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, so that you can do your bit for the elephant. The Save Elephant Foundation, you can find him during lunch. Don't go give him gyan on how to save elephants. He knows all of that. Probably you should pick up from, sir, I'm available. What should I do? Where should I come? That should be the question. Please do that. Dr. Karthik, no, don't keep clapping. We'll go through, yes? Years of experience on field. And as rightly pointed, Gen Z, yes? From a pre-tech era to a tech era, where the youth now is empowered with a lot of technology that can come in handy for conservation. Is the tech and the youth energy in the upward swing, or what kind of modifications are you looking for more results on ground?
Yeah, tech is a double-edged sword actually. I think, so the power of, social media as well as information that people get, using AI and chatbots and so on. Actually, I have a rather negative impression of it, because people now are not even taking the trouble to sort of like invest the time to do the research, read actual sort of articles by experts. Everything comes like this quick bite kind of thing, right? And they take information and put it out immediately as well. We've been, for example, the example that I gave, that turtles in Odisha are actually increasing. There's endless number of reels and tweets and so on, which still tell the same old 20-year-old story. And so my appeal to the youth is that you're the information generation, find out what the right information is. One of the most respected magazines in India on the environment, Down to Earth was actually one of the first to not glorify, and I'm not putting down, so we grew up reading Sanctuary and all that and got inspired. But Down to Earth was the one that tried to give us scientific information in a consumable form. And I'll make a small plug here. We started something called Current Conservation. Ours is the same. Provide scientific information in a consumable form. But go out, it's just not these two. There are like hundreds of such sources where you can get good information. And now use the power of your generation, Gen Z, as Sir said, to sort of amplify that, amplify good quality information. Not all of it is doom and gloom. I think Gen Z has a huge role to play, but I think right now it's this sort of like, there's
Since
both
you're
good
keeping
and
your
bad.
answers so precise, I'm tempted to ask you one more. If from this crowd, 4 or 5 people want to do something for the turtles, and how would you guide them? What should they immediately do?
So, if you want to do something for the environment, if you're passionate about nature, there are a number of organizations you can volunteer with, or you can, become researchers and so on. But if you want to do something about the environment, I would entreat you to think about the human issues that surround them. If you're a social science student or a humanities student, or if you're a science student also, the problems of the environment today are minimally about wildlife and biodiversity. They're mostly about people's livelihoods, their health, their coexistence or conflict with wild animals. Those are actually the problems of today. So in some sense, saying, let me go out and work on a turtle for two months. Actually, if you go out and work with a social work organization that works in an area like that, you might be doing more. The turtle people have more fun, but actually the bigger issues of today are actually human issues.
Human issue. Be out there in the field, try to tackle community issues. That's the takeaway which is constantly coming out of this. Meets to you. See, a lot of the youth here, see, if I were a small town, let's say Balasore or Paradeep, and when I look at somebody like you who comes from Delhi, who has the opportunities, who can reach out to networks, can you break the stigma here that all those conferences mean nothing and field work is all that's making the difference? What inspires you by looking at all these people, and what do you want to tell them?
So I also want to let everyone know that before answering the question, I am 19 and everyone in this panel have more experience than my age itself. So do forgive me if I say anything wrong or don't.
Age shame us.
Still, I started working when I was 14, and the reason was because I was shifting my cities from Delhi to Meerut to Ghaziabad and all, and I saw a lot of difference in opportunities across the schools, across economic strata as well, and that's when I also started my journey in the climate and education space. And the reason we started doing activities in education was because we saw that the students in tier 2 or 3 cities don't have that opportunities, they don't have that exposure to avail to the opportunities which are available to the students who are studying in top schools. And similarly, we wanted to democratize the opportunities there. So as soon as we started working with our own organizations on local level, we thought that we should also work on a larger scale of things with international bodies, such as I'm working in Commonwealth, in World Economic Forum, through UN Environment Program. And what all of our efforts are motivated are towards making sure everyone in India, in other countries in Caribbean, in Pacific, in Africa, gets the opportunities, their efforts get amplification, and they also get institutional support. And that's also, I was really glad to meet everyone here in who's working on the grassroots, because being in Delhi, I'm not really connected to the folks who are working to conserve turtles, in elephants, or maybe conserving the forest, as we don't have that there, and sure, we all know the pollution in Delhi. And a lot of grassroots leader being in these small towns, because they are connected to the nature, because they are seeing the change happening in front of them. We can't really do that. We can only see a new flyover being built, a new skyscraper being built in our neighborhood, but not the change in the environment. And that's why all of our efforts, let's say, are motivated towards tier 2 and 3 cities. And even here I had this in mind that whoever is working in policy, in tech, in agriculture, as I am a firm believer in institutional support and working with CSR heads, with the international bodies and all. So whoever wants to work in Commonwealth, I had this in mind, I will take 3 or 4 grassroots leaders to work with me in the Commonwealth. We will float an opportunity, we will loop in Dharitri so that all of you can get the applications for it. We will also invite applications for whoever is working in agriculture, as I'm working with the CSR heads and providing grants to people who are building sustainable businesses in agriculture. We will provide the grants, and that's how we want to democratize the opportunities, the funding, and a lot of other things which we can float around in tier 2 and 3 cities. And as most of the India resides here, as most of the problems can be solved here and not in cities.
Perfect, beautiful answer. Conservation is a collaboration. It's not a one man, one woman, one organization show. Turtle man, lake man, forest woman, nobody exists. Nature does its work. We're just a tool in this journey called conservation. If you're meeting this young man over lunch, probably go to him, talk to him about you're going to be fixing a puzzle where you're the field implementer. He's technically going to take you to the world over, introduce you to resources, and some new idea was born out of Dharitri Youth Conclave of 2025, and a project started. That should be the goal, and both of whoever it is, whoever is reaching out to meet, please don't talk about global problems, talk about a local solution and see how you bring some solution which can be certified by this entire effort. Why do you do this, Adyashaji, every year? Why do you want to do this, and what is your, and I'm going to request you to speak in Odia. If there's a young girl out there, if there's a young man in the audience, what should they do? What should they technically carry forward? What is your expectation out of them?
Thank you, Arun Babu. आमे धरित्री रे बहुत वर्ष हलाणी पॉजिटिव क्लाइमेट स्टोरीज देखी आसीचु एनवायरमेंटलिस्ट माने बहुत पॉजिटिव काम करूचंती आम पाखु को रिपोर्टर्स मानक थ्रू रे स्टोरीज आसुथिला आमे बसेई चालुथुलु सेई जो नेटवर्क ऑफ रिपोर्टर्स जो माने पॉजिटिव क्लाइमेट स्टोरीज ग्रास रूट रू डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स रू ब्लॉक्स रू गाँ गुड़ारू आम पाखु को आसिक पहुँचौले से आम जानिलु जे आमर ऑलरेडी गोटे नेटवर्क अच्छी मीडिया कैन टेल स्टोरीज मीडिया कैन टेल पॉजिटिव स्टोरीज जो थे इंस्पिरेशन मिलिबो लोकों को टू गो फॉरवर्ड बट वी ऑल्सो थॉट जे एगुड़ा सबू आइसोलेटेड स्टोरीज हो जाउची इंडिपेंडेंट ऑफ ईच अदर सो हाउ डू दीज ग्रासरूट्स एनवायरमेंटलिस्ट दीज यंग पीपल जो माने बहुत भल काम करुचंदी गाँ गंडारे से माने कनेक्टेड केमती हेबे से माने केमती गोटे प्लेटफॉर्म रे हाउ डू दे नेटवर्क हाउ डू दे गेट टू नो ईच अदर से थिरु Dharitri Youth Conclave आरंभ हला it started. We also brought in students from various educational institutions गाँ गंडारू खाली नुहे even from cities. So the uninitiated who want to do something about climate change, about some actionable environmental stuff, and also people from the grassroots who are actually doing something positive, they come together. Misiki, they network, like Meet Babu said, Karthik Babu said, Devabrata sir is there. Everyone can actually help each other. We do not need some huge, watershed moment of funding or anything like that. So, Dharitri Youth Conclave was created to provide that platform to get to know each other and help without too much of resources.
I'm going to start from you, and each of you gets a minute so that we can close this panel and send them out for other activities. What is the solution that you're looking forward to from this year's Youth Conclave? Our theme this year is climate change, finding solutions. What is that one solution? Is it garbage? Is it elephant? Is it dolphins? Is it marshlands, hills? What is the one solution you would want to see born out of this year's Youth Conclave?
So the solution cannot be singular because, climate change and its impact on various communities and areas is very different. So I would go with what Purnima Devi ji said, communities and youth. every community, if communities come together, solving small little problems, finding their own solutions in terms of some economic angle that they find, youth come together to solve their own local problem. Everything localized. We do not need to go global. So we come together in singular ways. Whichever community has a problem, we come together, solve it. Youth come together, their own issues. And then, of course, these platforms create exchange of ideas. I think that is how we go forward.
Communities is the key word I'm taking from you. What do you look forward to rest of the day? And what is going to happen through you? And when we invite you next year for this very summit, and when you present, let's say, on stage here, the last 12 months, these many people, this is the kind of resources we brought, this is the one solution we were able to deliver. Any goals in mind, any big ideas that you have, that you want to propose, put out, and seek partnership from the youth or your fellow citizens?
Sure. So this is my first time for Dharitri, and I, to be honest, didn't know a lot about this conclave before being invited, and that's the thing that even being, let's say, a representative of Commonwealth or in other international bodies, we are the grassroots leader, the grassroots conferences, the conferences which really bring a collection of different or diverse youth initiatives and a lot of experienced people as well. We don't really get to know about that. But being really inspired by all the grassroots leaders, I am really looking forward to bring a lot of these leaders on the forefront to work not only in Odisha, or also we are also trying to have expert session with everyone who's working in the same niche as them. Let's say someone is working in plastic, someone in something else. We will really try to have experts in those fields, do webinars with them, get their problem solved, get them connected to the funding as well. Because to be honest, I'm specifying a lot and focusing on the funding part. Because I think a lot of movements die because of lack of funding, because of lack of, they can't make career in the same social impact. And that's really important. I am really passionate, let's say, about startups or in the finance part. And that's why I thought to make an intersection of the finance, of the climate, of the startup ecosystem and help build sustainable solutions with them. That's why even yesterday when I was talking and speaking to a lot of the youth leaders, I spoke to them that what are you doing to make it sustainable? What are you doing to expand this? But then everyone was saying that they are jugaading most of their initiatives. And that's where I want to help them with, to make sure that these are sustainable, make sure that these are structured and get the adequate funding or guidance, and also that impact is amplified on an international scale.
Super. As an academician, researcher who's actually seen conservation grow from one pillar to another, is it invasive species? Is it global warming? What is threatening the larger wildlife scope? And what is the solution that the youth here should focus on over the next 10, 15 years?
Well, fortunately for me, our distinguished speaker, Sunita Narayan, has outlined it beautifully. I would just like ask people to reflect on what she said, actually. The larger global forces that are driven by capitalism are the root causes of climate change, the root causes of land use change, the root causes of poor land use patterns, it's the root cause of environmental degradation. Conservation is actually just a minor, sort of like a minor outcome of all of that. So in some sense, I think I would just echo her voice in saying that we have to question this paradigm that we're living in, and I think it's up to the youth of every generation to question it and say, why do we buy the same lies that we've been sold for, 50 to 70 years? Basically, like, you can say industrial revolution, but post World War II, we've lived in a particular, we've lived in a lie. And honestly, if you take conservation itself, if you believe what the larger sort of what some of the global NGOs say, those are also part of the same, sort of economic system in a sense. So my takeaway is not specific about conservation itself. I think one needs to defocus from conservation and see the bigger picture in all of this.
Which is the bigger picture, and what should the youth take away from this?
Well, the youth takeaway is exactly what she said, is to question, every truth, quote unquote, that we are told about what is right and wrong for our society. That, for example, like she said, the solution to emission thing is to have cleaner engines, but that's not solving the carbon dioxide problem. So every solution that is a politically or economically motivated solution, we have to question it. And I think that's my biggest message to the youth is question what you're being told and what you're reading.
Perfect.
It's conservation. You'll learn something about conservation when you question everything that you've been taught to believe.
Science at play. Many youth aspirants here would want to become civil servants, and it's very tough for an IFS officer out there to actually balance the government forces to yet get things done on ground and still be passionate about what they are doing for nature. What is your word of advice for youth who want to be civil servants in the future, and what should their action be related to nature conservation?
Very good question. Actually, jane civil servant hele je civil servant sabu kiछि kari paribe तार किछि माने नाही आमको लोकंकु नेई की करिबाकू पड़िबो तेणु करी ओडिशा होछि पायोनियर जे कि जॉइंट फॉरेस्ट ए जो मैनेजमेंट रे जो रिजोल्यूशन 1988 रे हेछि सारा भारत रे ओडिशा होछि पायोनियर एवं तेणु करी आमको लोकंकु नेई की चलिबाकू पड़िबो आज एते माइनिंग होछि एवं अल्प दिन तळे आमे सुनुथुलु जे आमर ए ओडिशार माटी तळे कुआडे बहुत सुना रहिछि टन टन सुना रहिछि जेते बेले मु सिमलीपाल टाइगर रिजर्व रो डायरेक्टर थिली सेते मैडम तो थिले आमर joining the dots we are very much grateful to her because she has joining the dots and because of her tigers are now conserved in the country. Now somebody has to come out for all other species including elephant so that something is framed out for conservation. So आमो ओडिशा रो माटी तळे सुना रही लेकिन इसके ऊपर तो डायमंड है इसका ऊपर जो पेड़ है पौधे हैं जो जीव जंतु है ये तो कोई डायमंड से कम नहीं है तो उसको सुरक्षा के लिए हमको ये जो लोगों का अवेयरनेस लेना है लोगों को साथ में लेना पड़ेगा विदाउट द पीपल कोऑपरेशन द सिविल सर्वेंट्स कैन नॉट प्रोटेक्ट कैन नॉट एडमिनिस्टर द वाइल्ड लाइफ और द फॉरेस्ट सो वी हैव टू टेक द पीपल अलोंग विथ अस.
The biggest takeaway from this panel is community-based activities on field, which are science-backed, which is logic-based, and it's not driven by a media narrative for photographs and videos. That's the biggest takeaway from this. To the guests who've joined us at this Dharitri Youth Conclave, in this very audience, there are people, sorry. No, that's exactly the democracy of this, right, sir? So in this audience, we actually have people who are working on mangroves. We have people who are cleaning the Paradip beach, a teacher who's in this crowd who's cleaning the Paradip beach almost every single day. Then we have people here who are working on house sparrows. So there are a lot of grassroots people who've come out here. The Dharitri Climate Grant gives away certain funding, limited funding, but a good grassroots seed funding for you to start your own idea and more. During lunch and the rest of the day, please focus, it's a humble request, please focus on conversation where you're looking for idea collaboration. If you are 18 to 25-year-old, get to meet this young man, meet and ask him about opportunities, how you have a project and where he can take your project. If you're an academic researcher, on-field conservation is your key, meet Dr. Karthik Shankar. And if, as I was mentioning, if you want to know more about governance, here you have this wonderful officer who's doing so much more, Save Elephant Foundation and more. The Dharitri Odisha Post family is also available. We get to know them. Today should be about our collaboration for nature conservation in any which way possible. Do come back next year for this summit because we are not going to stop this. We're going to look forward to a lot more result-oriented real-time work on ground, and the only thing that matters is field work. Yes, field work is what matters, and today is just an opening to a larger responsibility that we all hold. We thank you all for your patient audience, and we thank all the panelists for airing their opinion, and we really value your participation today. Thank you.
I would request our panelists and our moderator to please stay back. We'll have a group photograph, and I'll invite our editor, sir, to please join our CEO, madam, on stage, as we would like to thank and express our gratitude to our panelists and our moderator for that excellent discussion and beautiful summary by Mr. Arun Krishnamurthy here. Well, sir, welcome. I would request our guests to kindly stay a little close because we'll have a perfect group picture first. Thank you very much. I would request sir and madam to kindly felicitate our moderator, Mr. Arun Krishnamurthy, sir. I would request everybody to give a round of applause and join in this felicitation. I would request sir and madam now to kindly felicitate Mr. Dr. Devabrata Swai, in fact. We would then like to thank and we did our felicitation for Mr. Karthik Shankar and now Dr. Devabrata Swai, and then we would like to felicitate Mr. Meet Sajaria. Thank you very much. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all our panelists and our excellent moderator, Madam and Sir. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we take a step closer towards meeting this year's Climate Grant awardee, before that, the most prestigious felicitation of Dharitri Youth Conclave, the Lifetime Achievement Honor. Well, this year's Lifetime Achievement Honor is being given to a personality who has led her life by an example. As I introduce her, I take the extreme honor and privilege because she has not only dedicated her life into conserving the environment, but has been a force of nature to reckon with. She has changed people's ideologies, mindset, and community as a whole as well. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine dedicating your life to nurturing the very air we breathe and planting hope one sapling at a time. Today, we honor a woman who has done just that, transforming her village and inspiring a nation. She began her mission in the year 1996 at Bagrasai village, driven by the need to replace trees felled by the mafia. Working tirelessly amid challenges, she marshaled a movement as the secretary of the Sahiyogi Mahila Bagrasai organization. She championed a cause that now boasts 3,000 members. Her monumental effort led to the planting of an astonishing, it's very hard to believe, but she has done it, 2.5 million trees across India. In recognition of her relentless dedication, The Government of India honored her with the Nari Shakti Puraskar in 2019 and most recently the prestigious Padma Shri in 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, she is a living testament to the power of grassroots activism and the profound impact of one determined individual. As I invite her, उनको सम्मानित करने के लिए, इस मंच पे स्वागत करने के लिए मैं आमंत्रण करना चाहूंगी हमारे सम्माननीय एडिटर सर श्री तथागत सतपथी, हमारी सम्माननीय सीईओ मैडम श्रीमती आद्याशा सतपथी. I would also take this moment to welcome back on stage our chief guest of today's youth conclave, Dr. Purnima Devi Barman, our chief speaker, Srimati Sunita Narayan, and our special guest of honor, Dr. Andrew Fleming. Ladies and gentlemen, please put a very big round of applause as we are delighted to have amongst us Padma Shri, Srimati Chami Murmu. I would invite Shri Siddharth Mahanti of MGM to please join this felicitation.
समाज के लिए हम लोग एक साल में 1 लाख पौधा तैयारी करते हैं और 1 लाख पौधा हम लोग लगाते हैं.
Padma Shri Chami Murmu from Jharkhand is a remarkable symbol of courage, struggle and inspiration. She is widely known for her work in nature protection, women's empowerment and rural development.
यही घर में मैं जन्म ली थी और एक घर से बड़ा होकर के मैं अपना एनजीओ को संस्था को बनाई, स्वास्थ्य का, शिक्षा का, जो भी हम अपना फील्ड में सेवा कर रहे हैं, काम कर रहे हैं.
Her journey is often described as one that rose from poverty to determination and meaningful success, as she chose lifelong service over comfort. For 3 decades, she has nurtured more than 30 lakh trees across 500 villages, guided by her belief that the soil is like a mother and the forest is the essence of life. She has empowered over 30,000 women through self-help groups and has involved countless in forest and river protection. She began planting trees at the age of 16. Her contributions have earned her several major honors, including Indira Priyadarshini Vriksha Mitra Award in 1996, Nari Shakti Puraskar in 2019 and Padma Shri Award in 2024.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, her story, her life is an example to every young mind in this very hall and to all of them who are watching us live right now, that if you want, if you are determined, you can definitely bring in a huge positive impact in the society. Everybody, might I request, if you may please give a standing ovation to this phenomenal lady. Started from a very small village and brought a humongous change to our wonderful nation. Planting 2.5 million trees is no joke. Thank you very much, madam, for your contribution, and we at Dharitri are truly honored to present you with this lifetime achievement honor. All right, so मैं हमारे सभी अतिथियों से I would thank all our dignitaries on the stage for doing the honors. I would invite them to please take their seats, and ladies and gentlemen, it will not be right on my part if I do not ask, मैं श्रीमती मुर्मू से अगर अनुरोध ना करूं कि उनसे हम कुछ सुने तो ये हो नहीं सकता है. जोरदार तालियां हो जाए. मैडम से आइए सुनते हैं.
सभी को जोहार। आज एक दिवसीय क्लाइमेट इस समारोह में उपस्थित हमारे अतिथिगण एवं हमारे बुद्धिजीवी अनुभवी सभी को मैं तहे दिल से मैं प्रणाम करती हूँ। और जो धरित्री की इस कार्यक्रम को आयोजन किए हुए सभी सदस्यगण को भी मैं अपनी ओर से जोहार करती हूँ कि आज इस मंच में आने का मौका दिया और आप सबों से मिलने का अवसर दिया। इसके लिए मैं पुनः उसको तहे दिल से जोहार करती हूँ, नमस्कार करती हूँ। और इस कार्यक्रम में जितना भी उपस्थित है, हमारे अतिथिगण, मीडिया, न्यूज पेपर वाले और जो भी हमारे इस ये कार्यक्रम में सहयोगी है, सभी को मैं मेरी ओर से जोहार। आज जो अभी हम लोग देखे, ये तो आपका 10-15 साल का ये है फिल्म है। और जब मैं 38 साल पीछे जो कार्यक्रम किए थे, जो संघर्ष किए थे, वो मैं आप सबों के सामने नहीं दर्शा पा रहे हैं, क्योंकि उस समय ना फोन था, ना कैमरा था, ना मेरा उतना दिमाग था कि हम ये सब रिकॉर्ड कर के रखेंगे तो अगला मेरा काम में आएगा। जो संघर्ष किए वो तो सिर्फ आप लोग बता सकते हैं आप लोगों को, लेकिन दिखा नहीं सक रहे हैं। जब 1989 में जब हम अपने घर से एक साधारण, उस समय क्या बोलेंगे, लड़की के रूप में ही निकले थे और अपना महिला जो हम लोग आगे नहीं पढ़ पाए, उस महिला को इकट्ठा करके हम लोग एक प्रोग्राम में गाए पटमदा में। वहाँ महिला लोग का प्रोग्राम था, वहाँ देखे महिला लोग का ही बातचीत हो रहा था, तो वहाँ भी ये करके हम लोग को भगाने का कोशिश किया वहाँ पटमदा का आदमी लोग को। फिर भी हम लोग ये करके नहीं भागे, वहाँ का प्रोग्राम देख करके पूरा आए और फिर अपना क्षेत्र में भी उस तरह से बैठक करने का शुरू किए। हम लोग क्या काम करेंगे, हमारे क्षेत्र में बहुत जलावन का समस्या था। हम लोग कोयला खरीद के जलाते हैं या पुआल से धान सिजाते हैं, खाना बनाते हैं, या 15 किलोमीटर दूर से लकड़ी ढो करके लाना पड़ता था। उस तरह से ये करके हमारे क्षेत्र में बहुत बंजर भूमि था और जितना भी काला पत्थर टुंगरी है सब में किरसर लग रहा था, तो पूरा ये हो रहा था, बंजर हो रहा था अपना हमारे क्षेत्र में। उसके बाद ये करके हम लोग गांव-गांव में बैठक करने लगे कि हम लोग अपना क्षेत्र में पौधा लगाएंगे। तो कैसे लगाएंगे हम लोग कुछ नहीं जानते हैं। उसके बाद अपना ब्लॉक के ये में वन विभाग था, तो वहाँ हम लोग गए, संपर्क किए, तो वहाँ बोला कि आप लोग तो कुछ काम करना नहीं जानते हैं कि तो आप लोग क्या पौधा लगाएंगे, तो कैसे करना होगा। तो हम लोग वो लोग बोला कि आप लोग को काम सीखना होगा। तो कई ये करके वहाँ हम लोग 1 महीना मजदूरी के रूप में 4-5 महिला गए और मजदूरी के रूप में काम किए। और बालू कितना देना है, गोबर कितना देना है, मिट्टी कितना देना है, क्या पाउडर देना है, सारी चीज कितना मात्रा में ये करके पॉलीथीन में कैसे भरना है, फिर उसके बाद बीज या जर्मेशन बेड वाला पौधा को कैसे डालना, सारी चीज सीखने के बाद हम अपना ये में नर्सरी किए, अपने स्तर से नर्सरी किए। तो उस समय सामाजिक बनी का प्रोजेक्ट था, तो 1 लाख नर्सरी का काम दिया। 1 लाख नर्सरी उसको हम लोग तैयार कर दिए। तो ये करके तैयार करने के बाद वो बोला कि ये पौधा अपना क्षेत्र में ही लगाइए। तो हम लोग कैसे लगाएंगे, किसका अपना जमीन भी नहीं है, किसान जमीन नहीं दे रही, अब कि हम पौधा लगाएंगे तो सरकार ले लेगी। तो वो ये करके हम लोग को परेशान हो गए, पौधा तो लगाना है। और ये करके जब तैयार किए हैं तो ये करके एक भाई बोला कि हम लोग सीओ ऑफिस जाते हैं। तो हम लोग जब सीओ ऑफिस गए, उस समय हम लोग पैदल चलते थे या साइकिल से चलते थे, 10 किलोमीटर 15 किलोमीटर दूर था वो लोग। वहाँ से सीओ ऑफिस से मिला तो ये आवेदन दिए कि हम लोग को लीज में जमीन चाहिए और पौधा लगाएंगे। तो ये करके आपको किस रूप से देंगे? तो हम लोग एक तो सहयोगी महिला नाम से एक एनजीओ के रूप में गठन किए थे, तो उसी के नाम से हम लोग को ये दीजिए। तो आपका रजिस्ट्रेशन नहीं हुआ है, तो रजिस्ट्रेशन नहीं हुआ है, नाम तो है, ये करके उस तरह से ये करके हम लोग लीज में लिए। और ये तो हम पौधा लेंगे, ना ग्रामीण लेगा ना आप लेंगे, जमीन में ही रहेगा। उसी तरह से ये करके 10-15 3 महीना दौड़ाया कि आज देंगे काल देंगे, आज बड़ा बाबू नहीं है, सियाई नहीं है, उस तरह से बहुत दौड़ाया। उसके बाद ये करके दिया। जब हम लोग पौधा लगाए 3 साल देख रेख किए, 3 साल होने के बाद जब हमारे ग्रामीण देखा कि हाँ अच्छा ये हुआ है, तो ये करके जो भी पत्ता ये झाड़ू करके लाते हैं, फल झाड़ू करके लाते हैं, और अपना जलावन के लिए जो झाड़ी छटाई होता है उसका ये को सब मिल रहा है। उसके बाद 5 साल के बाद उसको आपका जो खरीद के लाते थे खटिया कुदाल का, ये घर का रोला, उस तरह से ये करके लाभ मिला। और वो गांव वाला कोई लाभ मिला, तब जाके समझ में आया कि हाँ अब मेरा ही अधिकार है। उसके बाद किसान भी लगाने दिया, और हम 90 से पौधा लगाते आ रहे हैं, लगाते लगाते किसान भी समझ गया। उसके बाद हर साल अभी भी लगा रहे हैं पौधा। उसके बाद ये करके जब महिला का बात आया, किसी पौधा लगाने से नहीं होगा, हमको साथ में महिला को भी लेना है, उसको जागृत करना है, रोजगार से जोड़ना है। तो जब हम लोग गांव में जाते हैं महिला को बैठक करने के लिए, तो पुरुष भगा देता है कि तुम लोग क्या बैठक करेंगे, यहाँ तो पुरुष लोग बैठक करेंगे, महिला लोग का कोई बैठक नहीं होगा। उस तरह से हम लोग को भगा देते थे। फिर भी हम लोग चुपके चुपके बैठक करते थे। और एक गांव में कुछ महिला लोग थोड़ा जिद्दी थी, ये करके हम लोग पैसा जमा करेंगे, ग्रुप बनाएंगे, ऐसे जो ग्रुप, तो हम लोग के पास पैसा नहीं है। जब मजदूरी करते हैं तो सिर्फ धन मिलता है, धन मिलता है तो पैसा का समस्या हो जाती है। तो क्या करें हम लोग, एक एक इतना बड़ा बड़ा एक ठो मिट्टी का हांडी लिए, और जो सुबह से हम खाना बनाते हैं, एक एक मुट्ठी हम लोग चावल रखते हैं, और उसको 15 दिन में बेचते हैं। जो भी पैसा होता है 5 रुपया हम लोग हर सप्ताह 15 दिन में उसको जमा किए हैं। उस तरह से 1 साल तक ये करके हम लोग कुछ पैसा हो गया। कुछ महिला लोग को भी समझ में आ गया कि हाँ मेरे पास पैसा आ गया। उसके बाद एक नाबार्ड का प्रोग्राम आया, तो उसमें हम लोग नाबार्ड के साथ जोड़े। उसके बाद बैंक में खाता खुलवाए। उसके बाद महिला लोग का उस समय अपने नाम से पासबुक नहीं रहता था, और जब हम ग्रुप बनाए नाबार्ड के साथ जोड़े तो वो महिला के नाम से भी पासबुक बन गया। तो महिला लोग को भी और इच्छुक हो गया कि हम मेरा ये में भी खाता है। पहले पुरुष का में ही खाता रहता था गांव में देहात में। तो ये करके फिर वो लोग अपना ये करके जो भी पैसा होता था तो कम हो रहा था कि जो अपना आपस में लोन लेन देन करने में। और ऐसा ये करके वो लोग का इतना सुविधा हुआ था कि वो लोग को ना ठेकेदार के यहाँ जाना पड़ता था, साहूकार के यहाँ जाना पड़ता था, ना बैंक जाना पड़ता था। अपने जब भी जरूरत होता 12 बजे रात को भी वो लोग को पैसा उपलब्ध हो रहा था। उस तरह से ये करके अगर साहूकार के यहाँ जाएगा तो गिरवी मांगेगा, सोना चांदी या कासा पितल जो भी ये है। और अपने ग्रुप में बहुत अच्छा ये होने लगा, तो और महिला लोग को भी समझने में ये हुआ, तो आगे भी बढ़ाते गया ग्रुप बनाते बनाते। उसके बाद ये करके अपना सरायकेला जिले में करीब 28 ग्रुप हम गठन किए, बैंक लिंकेज कराए। उसके बाद लोन भी दिलाए, और लोन दिलाने के बाद उसको जो भी लोन हम लोग दिलाते हैं कि हम लोग 90% उसको वापस भी करवाए हैं। उस तरह से ये करके अपना ये कर लोन लेती है महिला लोग। और मुर्गी पालन, बकरी पालन, बतख पालन, एग्रीकल्चर, सब्जी खेती, मूड़ी बना के बेचना, धान खरीद के चावल बना के बेचती है। उस तरह से अपना रोजगार को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए जुड़ी हुई है महिला लोग। और ये करके इस तरह से काम करते करते हम लोग जब ये शक्ति प्रोजेक्ट आया 15-16 में नाबार्ड के द्वारा, तो उस समय ये करके हम मेरा एनजीओ 92 में रजिस्टर हुआ था। उसी बैनर तले काम करते करते नाबार्ड के साथ जुड़े, और 2019 में नारी शक्ति पुरस्कार प्राप्त हुआ। और इस तरह से ये करके जो बहुत कुछ ये करके अपना क्षेत्र में संघर्ष करना पड़ा। अपना जल संसाधन का भी थोड़ा बहुत काम किए। अपने जल हम कैसे बचाव करेंगे, जो वर्षा पानी को बह के जा रहा है तो हम कैसे बचाव करेंगे, उसके लिए टीसीबी ये वगैरह तालाब वगैरह जो पुराना बुलान साहब है वो सबको भी नया ये करके हम लोग ग्राम सभा करके ये करके काम कराए। उसके बाद 2010 में जो हमारे चंडिल निमडी ब्लॉक में पीटीजी बच्ची लोग आदिम जनजाति बिरहोड़ या खड़िया लोग जो थे, उस बच्ची को हम 100 बच्ची को अपना कैंपस में लाए थे और वो लोग को पढ़ाने के लिए काम किए। जब हम सर्वे करने गए थे 3 महीना सर्वे किए, इतना वो लोग का ये था कि वो लोग रहन सहन का भी देखने से बहुत ये लगता था। बहुत मुश्किल से वो लोग को लाए हमारे कैंपस में। जब लाते थे तो जब 5 साल के 6 साल के बच्ची को लाते हैं तो 3 साल का बच्ची को भी आप ले जाइए, नहीं तो ये कौन देख रेख करेगा। उस तरह से समस्या आ रही थी हमको लाने में। फिर भी ये करके हम बच्ची को सबको लाए पढ़ाए। वो लोग साबुन तेल देते हैं, नहाते नहीं थे, अपना बैग में भर भर के रखते थे, कपड़ा देते थे, सब रख देते थे, जो अपना कपड़ा लाए हैं उसी को पहनते हैं। जब भी टिपिंग होता है सुबह जब ये करके वो लोग निकलती है तो बगल में टुंगरी है, वहाँ जाके झुपड़ी बनाती है। जब भी ये करके नाश्ता करती है, थोड़ा देर बैठती है, टिपिंग होता है, फिर भाग जाती है। बहुत तरीके करके ये होते हैं। और छुट्टी का दिन में वो लोग ये करके नहाने के बहाना से निकल जाते हैं और उसके बाद वो लोग तालाब सब भाग जाते हैं मेढक पकड़ने हैं। उस तरह से बहुत ये करके वो लोग को समझाए। ये करके हम 2019 तक रखे थे। 2020 से कोविड का ये हुआ तो उस समय सब स्कूल बंद हुआ तो हमको भी बंद करना पड़ा। सब बच्ची को वापस कर दिया और अपना अपना क्षेत्र में वो लोग को स्कूल में एडजस्ट कर दिए। और उसी तरह से ये करके 35 बच्ची को हम 1 से 5 तक ये करके 35 बच्ची को कस्तूरबा स्कूल में वो लोग को एडमिशन कराए। उस तरह से काम करके ये करते 2024 में इंदिरा प्रियदर्शनी पद्मश्री अवार्ड प्राप्त हुई। और इस तरह से संघर्ष हुआ, लेकिन 38 साल का संघर्ष मैं पूरा नहीं दर्शा पा रही हूँ जो ये है। और समय भी ये करके उतना, अगर आप जानना चाहेंगे सवाल कर सकते हैं तो हम जरूर बता सकते हैं। लेकिन हम लोग जो प्राकृतिक का आज क्लाइमेट करके बात करती है तो प्रकृति का सौंदर्य असीम है। यह आत्मा को शांति और मन को संतुलन प्रदान करते हैं। प्रकृति सुरक्षित है तो हम भी, हमारा जीवन है। ऐसे में मैं आप सभी से आग्रह करना चाहती हूँ कि पेड़ सिर्फ हरियाली नहीं बल्कि हमारी और हमारे आने वाले पीढ़ियों के लिए, जिंदगी के लिए इन्हें सुरक्षित रखना हम सभी की जिम्मेदारी है। पर्यावरण के क्षेत्र में हम सभी अच्छे काम तो कर रहे हैं, लेकिन सभी इस मुहिम को आगे बढ़ाना है। जो आज सरकार भी काम कर रही है, पौधा तो लगाना आसान है, लेकिन हम कैसे बचाएंगे, बचाने का हम लोग को सोचना है। आज मैं 38 साल से मेहनत किए तब जाके मैं 30 लाख पौधा बचा पाए हैं। कितना लगाए वो तो हम नहीं ये कर रहे हैं, लेकिन अभी जो बचा है 30 लाख पौधा, इतना में हम ये कर सकते हैं। तो आइए हम सब मिलकर संकल्प लेंगे, अधिक से अधिक पेड़ लगाएंगे और उन्हें संरक्षित करेंगे। पर्यावरण को स्वच्छ और हरित और हमारे भारत की हरा भरा और कुशल बनाएंगे। इन शब्दों के साथ मैं अपनी वाणी को समाप्त करती हूँ। पुनः मैं धरित्री को धन्यवाद देती हूँ कि आज इस मंच में आने का मौका दिया, 2 शब्द आप लोगों के बीच बोलने का मौका दे, इसके लिए मैं तहे दिल से कुटी कुटी में उसको धन्यवाद देती हूँ। जोहार।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद पद्मश्री श्रीमती छामी मुर्मू जी। अगर आपकी अनुमति हो तो मैम और कुछ समय के लिए आपको हम मंच पे मिलना चाहेंगे। मैं आमंत्रण करना चाहूंगी मैडम को, हमारे एडिटर सर को, क्योंकि जो हमारे धरित्री यूथ कॉन्क्लेव 2025 का मूल है, द क्लाइमेट ग्रांट अवार्ड, जिसके लिए आप सब आई एम श्योर इंतजार कर रहे हैं, वो अब अनाउंस होने जा रहा है. सो व्हेन वी हैव सच डिस्टिंग्विश्ड पर्सनालिटीज अमंगस्ट अस, उनको मंच पे बिना बुलाए ये क्लाइमेट ग्रांट अवार्ड हो नहीं सकता है. तो मैडम और सर, we will proceed towards this year's climate grant awardee. I would invite our editor sir, Shri Tathagat Satpathy, our CEO madam, Mrs. Adyasha Satpathy. I'll welcome back Padma Shri Srimati Chami Murmu. Our chief speaker for our youth conclave, Madam Padma Shri Sunita Narayan madam, and our chief guest, Madam Dr. Purnima Devi Barman. आपसे भी मैं आमंत्रण करना चाहूंगी. I would invite Mr. Siddharth Mahanti from MGM. Sir, may you please also join us on stage as we move towards the most important, much awaited part of the 5th edition of Dharitri Youth Conclave. I will also invite our esteemed jury members who helped us meet our climate grant awardees for 2025. Shri Arun Krishnamurthy ji. I'll invite Dr. Debabrata Swai. I'll invite Shri Soumya Ranjan Biswal, our jury members, along with Madam Adyasha Satpathy here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this climate grant award, iske piche ka mool udeshya is to give our grassroots environmentalist a positive nudge in the right direction. हम में भी इसके माध्यम से कुछ बहुत बड़ा ना कर पाएं, बट आशा करते हैं कि इस मंच और इस सम्मान के थ्रू वो जो दिशा में आगे बढ़ रहे हैं और भी तीव्र गति के साथ आगे बढ़ेंगे. This is what we intend. Out of over 100 applicants we have shortlisted, and today on this prestigious platform we will be giving the much awaited Climate Grant Award 2025. The very first, are we ready for that? Yes? People at the back? Let's encourage, let's support, and let's celebrate our very first Dharitri Climate Grant Awardee, Vikas Sathi organization. We have an AV about them. Let's have a look.
Vikas Sathi, an organization founded by Dr. Biswajit Panda in 2022, is a youth-led initiative working for wildlife conservation and forest-dependent communities. From the beginning, the organization has focused on building a strong connection between people and nature and continues to inspire young minds to care for the environment. From controlling forest fires in Kuladiha Sanctuary to rescuing pangolins, parakeets and over 1,500 horseshoe crabs, the volunteers stay active on the ground. The organization also educates school students through eco clubs, awareness drives and field visits.
Ladies and gentlemen, the team of Vikas Sathi here. Congratulations to you. We appreciate, we are truly celebrating your work, and we wish you all the success and good luck in the coming times. I would request our chief guest and our chief speaker, our dignitaries on the dais, to kindly do the honors and felicitate the team of Vikas Sathi. The Climate Grant Award comes with a cash prize of 1 lakh rupees. We hope that this will serve as a positive catalyst towards their motivation in doing what they are doing. Congratulations, team Vikas Sathi. Moving on to our very next, I would request the team to kindly stay near the stage. टीम विकास साथी को अनुरोध स्टेज पाखरे रहिबे परिशेष रे हमें गोटे ग्रुप फोटोग्राफ नबो विथ ऑल दी विनर्स a very next climate Dharitri climate grant awardee is Sabuja Sankalpa.
Sabuja Sankalpa, a social organization formed to address climate change, began in Galadari village with a few young individuals and has now grown to more than 200 volunteers. The organization has planted over 10,000 trees, developed a nursery of 2,000 saplings, including rare medicinal plants, and carried out regular cleanliness drives across the Gopo block in Puri district. It also conducts wildlife conservation campaigns, sensitizing more than 3,000 people and protecting species such as otters and freshwater turtles. The organization aims to make the Gopo block plastic free by 2028 and plant 1 lakh palm saplings along the coast.
Congratulations, and let's welcome team Sabuja Sankalpa. अनेक अनेक अभिनंदन टीम सबुज संकल्प को वर्तमान आम परवर्ती धरित्री क्लाइमेट ग्रांट अवार्डी आपण को मध्य अनुरोध मंच पाखरे रहिबे आम परवर्ती क्लाइमेट ग्रांट अवार्डी वेल ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल अवार्ड्स हो गए हैं अब हम बढ़ रहे हैं इंडिविजुअल अवार्ड्स की तरफ एक इंसान बदलाव ला सकता है बोलने की बात नहीं है हमारे मंच पे 2 ऐसे उदाहरण खड़े हैं जिन्होंने ये साबित कर दिया है और अब हम ऐसे ही एक इंडिविजुअल को सम्मानित करेंगे who has brought in a drastic change with their action. Please put your hands together for our Dharitri Climate Grant awardee Deepa Rani Nayak.
Deepa Rani Nayak of Malkangiri is a true guardian of nature. Troubled by the disappearance of the once common sparrow, she pledged to bring them back. Since 2014 to 15, she has planted trees and built more than 500 nests, helping sparrows and other birds breed again across several blocks. She teaches children through visual games, promotes recycling and encourages people to avoid plastic. For her, real education is what serves society, and her quiet, relentless work has become a heartfelt lesson in hope.
Deepa Rani Naik, ladies and gentlemen, environmental activist, our third Dharitri Climate Award recipient of the 5th edition of Dharitri Youth Conclave 2025. Congratulations, Deepa Rani Naik. And now, our final Dharitri Climate Grant awardee for 2025. Congratulations to Bapi Gochayat.
Bapi Gochayat from Orata village in Mahakalpada block of Kendrapada district has been working since 2018 with one clear goal: to keep the seashore and its surrounding areas free of plastic. Every morning he sets out on his bicycle and begins his cleaning work along the Paradip coast, collecting plastic waste with unwavering dedication. So far, he has gathered more than 5 tons of plastic and handed it over to the Paradip municipality for recycling. Each year during festivals, he creates awareness in a unique way by covering his body with single-use plastic items, turning himself into a walking message against pollution.
Ladies and gentlemen, environmental activists, congratulations to Bapi Gochayat. 5 tons of plastic collected and given for recycling purposes. What a bigger impact that must have had to the environment that we are living in right now. बापी बाबू को मुहरे हसटी गायब अच्छी जदि हसी देबे आहुरी सुंदर लागिवो बहुत बड़ अचीवमेंट मु जानि छी तांकर ए जो काम नीरबरे एकुटिया गोटे अभियान नहीं कि काम तांकर जारी रखिचंती धीरे धीरे लोक जोड़ी हेचंती आ आज धरित्री परिवार आपन को एटी पाई कि बहुत गर्वित धन्यवाद बापी बाबू. I would now invite all our Dharitri Climate Grant awardee to kindly come on stage to have a group photograph with our esteemed guests and delegates together. Everybody, please come. Vikas, Sathi, Sabuja Sankalpa, Deeparani Nayak and Bapi Gochayat. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a huge round of applause for all the Dharitri Climate Grant awardee. Before we go any further, I would request our guests. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, before we go further, let me just take this moment, as we have already felicitated, awarded our climate grant awardees. We would like to thank our jury members, all our jury members who did a great job and tireless job in helping us to meet our this year's Dharitri Climate Grant awardee. Our jury members, Dr. Debabrata Swai, thank you very much, sir. Shri Arun Krishnamurthy, sir. Madam Adyasha Satpathy, and now I would invite one of our jury members जिनको अभी तक हम stage पर formally नहीं मिले हैं, Shri Soumya Ranjan Biswal ji. Ladies and gentlemen, Shri Biswal is one of the 6 United Nations India Yuva advocates dedicated to mobilizing the younger generation to achieve the Sustainable Development Goal by 2030. I would request our CEO, Mrs. Adyasha Satpathy, and our editor, Mr. Tathagat Satpathy, to please come on stage. And I would invite Mr. Soumya Ranjan Biswal to also join us on stage. Sir, please. For over 12 years, Mr. Biswal has been at the forefront of popularizing community-led action initiatives in Odisha through mangrove conservation, olive ridley sea turtle habitat protection, Ramsar site preservation and other initiatives aimed at fostering a mass nature conservation movement in Odisha. He also serves as the managing trustee of the Odisha Paryavaran Sanrakshan Abhiyan Trust. We would like to thank Mr. Biswal for his contribution and for joining Dharitri family as a jury for this year's Dharitri Youth Conclave 2025. Thank you very much, madam. Thank you very much, sir. And before we break for lunch, let me give you a gentle reminder as into what awaits for you post-lunch is a beautiful musical experience. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we have, jitni bhi young generation hai yahan pe present, I don't think I need to introduce to you who Rahagir is. जी हाँ, वो हमारे बीच आने वाले हैं थोड़े ही समय बाद post lunch, and he is going to take you through a complete musical journey with his lovely voice. So I hope and I wish and I request everybody to please join us back sharp at 3 p.m. From there on, we will be listening to our young students talk about environment, post which we are going to get all completely engulfed into the musical journey with Rahagir. Thank you very much. Please join us for lunch right now and requesting all of you to join us back by latest 3 p.m.